Hello and welcome. I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining me today. We are live. It is March 12th, Tuesday, 2024, and we are wide open today. We've got the next 3 hours devoted to helping you become more successful in every aspect of business life, professional life, personal life, with respect to your communication skills. This is a channel devoted to helping you become more successful by building your communication skills and building your confidence in your communication skills. Hi, I'm TJ Walker, and I've been helping people just like you around the globe for more than 30 years. Whatever your issue is, if you're nervous about speaking, unsure if you're memorable, not quite sure if you're loud enough, you think you've got a problem with a voice, this is the place for you to really talk about these issues, get answers to your questions, try things out, and get real-time feedback from a coach. I'm joined by my colleague in the studio, Ben. Ben, have we posted a link? We should have talked about this before. Have we posted a link to the StreamYard in the YouTube community tab today? I think Ben has done that. I'm certainly hoping so. So I would love to have you join me today live right here on screen. I see several of you have already signed on. That's fantastic. But we do take live questions. You can post questions right here in the Q&A, regardless of what format you're on. Currently, we are on a couple of Facebook pages. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we are on Twitter, and we are on Instagram. And tomorrow, if all goes well, we will in fact be on TikTok, provided they have not been removed by the United States government. I'm going to let other people fight those political battles. Our main mantra here is if someone allows us a forum to go on where we can shed positive ideas about how to help people in their life around the world, then we go on that platform. There's certainly plenty of things to criticize about any one social media platform. And we're going to not say those debates don't matter, but it's just not going to be the main focus of this channel right here. Hugo just writes in and says, I found TJ online over 4 years ago before COVID-19 started. I purchased some of your courses on Udemy, but never got around to finishing any of them. I'm excited I found your content again. Well, Hugo, thanks so much for reaching out and saying hello. I do want to point out, you're not alone. I mean, one of the problems with online courses is that the sheer act of buying it makes people feel like they've done something. It's kind of like the last, 50, 60 years. If people feel like they're overweight and they want to lose weight, they would buy a diet book and figure out, well, I've done something now, I'll read it later. They put it on their bookshelf and never read it. Well, you can guess how much that really helped them in their weight loss program. Not at all. But Hugo, I'm very happy that you have reconnected with us and found me. So Hugo, tell us what prompted you to purchase that course 4 years ago, and where do you feel like you are most in need of improving your communication skills? My colleague and our executive producer, Ben, is with us. Ben, have we started the live feed on Instagram? Okay, great. He's letting me know that we have. And Ben is working feverishly behind the scenes to try to get us live on TikTok tomorrow as well. So we're continuing to grow the show, continuing to grow the reach, trying to help more and more people all over the globe become more successful in life by becoming a better communicator. And Hugo, if you want to join, Ben, go ahead and post the link today in the comments section. So sometimes people just see it right there rather than going to the community tab. So Hugo, if you would like to join me live and give us an update on what you're working on, would absolutely love to have you join me on screen. That would be great. So Hugo, part of what I do right here every day is I answer people's questions as it relates to communication skills, public speaking, presenting, talking one-on-one with colleagues, difficult conversations, but also speaking to the news media. So answer questions, critique people's videos, and also do demonstrations. It's kind of a behind the scenes. We take you behind the curtains of a workshop, and I show you exactly what I do as a content creator. So I will be making YouTube short videos, TikTok short videos here. I'll be making long videos for all the social media platforms. And you're not going to just see the finished product. You can see that on YouTube, but you're going to see me making it. So if I make a mistake, you'll see it. If I have to do a do-over, you will see it. So part of what we're trying to do here is demystify the process of content creation, because a lot of people go to my YouTube channel and watch the on-demand videos, or Vin Jiang or Alex Lyons and others, and they think, well, those guys are interesting. I learned a lot. I know a lot, but wow, they're just so perfect in every take. How do I even start? And it creates paralysis quite often. Don't even know where to start, because it seems like it's such a mountain that can't be reached. So what I'm doing a little differently here is I do show you the actual creation process. So you see it warts and all, you see it if I make a mistake, a stumble. Typically what I do is I'll just stop, pause for a second to make it easier for my editing team, and then I just go back to the previous sentence where I made a mistake and start fresh. And that way it can be edited in to look seamlessly as if it were one take. Now, I do try to do things typically in one take, but not always. And you know what? I don't really care. Some days I'll do 100 videos in one take, don't have to redo anything. But other days, I think yesterday was a good example. I started making some stumbles for whatever reason. We were at this for about 3.5 hours. And I think the last 10 minutes when I was making YouTube or Amazon influencer videos, I must have stumbled half a dozen times. It didn't really slow me down more than about 90 seconds. So that is my message to you. Don't let a little stumble mess you up. Don't let it discourage you. Don't let it dissuade you from doing the most important thing, which is hitting the record button and getting started to begin with. Well, Hugo, if you have any comments, please let me know. Any of the rest of you joining me, post your comments in the comments section. Ben has just posted the link to join us live here in studio if you'd like to do that. Ben, thanks for your time. I know you got other things to do. We'll say goodbye to Ben. And I'm going to hop right into some questions and topics that have been posted. But first, let's go to some top news stories. This did jump out at me from in the news yesterday. Now, this is not primarily a news program. Let me stress that. But we do from time to time cover news stories that are directly related to communication skills. And this one jumped out at me, and I'll share the facts with you in just a minute. But I feel sorry for the employees involved. I just want to get a quick look on how many employees. This is another major layoff, and it relates to Deadspin. So in the news, Deadspin announces that it is completely laying off every single employee. This is a major sports news online publication. It was considered widely respected, huge audience, and they recently sold the company to another media company and all of their assets. The new company has simply said, we don't want or need any of the old journalists, the editors, the reporters. Bye-bye. Now, I feel very sorry for these individuals who've been laid off, but it's a trend we're seeing again and again and again, not just with 200-year-old weekly newspapers. Those have been dying virtually daily in the United States and around the world, not just weekly and daily newspapers that are dying, but media companies that are only 15 years old are now so outdated in their business model, they are not surviving. So I think the real message here for all of us is I don't want to breed cynicism here, but do not place your faith in big media organizations. If you are a communicator, you ultimately don't need them. You can simply create, push a few buttons, and connect with the whole world. That's what I'm doing now. I mean, I do have a media career of sorts, and yet I don't have CNN or NBC or the BBC writing me a big paycheck each month. I'm doing it on my own. Is it as easy as just getting a big paycheck and taking the limousine to the studio? No, but ultimately it gives you more stability. So our hearts go out to the folks at Deadspin who've lost their jobs and just being unceremoniously dumped and liquidated as that website sold. But I hope some of them take the reins by the hand and take charge of their own career. If you love reporting on some niche of international football soccer, start your own website, start your own YouTube channel, start your own blog, start your own podcast, go deep into that niche and build an audience. You can do it. Are you going to get rich overnight? No. Are you even going to be able to pay your rent or bills overnight? No. You may have to take a day job. You may have to go off and build corporate websites for 6 months or a year. But if you want to make a career in the media and you're passionate and talented about a particular subject area, you don't have to have a big media company hiring you and providing office space for you and giving you benefits and healthcare and a paycheck. You can do all that yourself if you're willing to do the work. We've had a few more comments. Hugo writes in, I'm currently working but able to listen at the same time. I'm an engineer and my goal is to move up to become a project manager. So I need to improve my communication skills. Oh, Hugo, you've come to the right place. Because it's very hard to manage projects if you can't speak to people. If all you're doing is sending email and putting text comments on Slack, and you think you're going to manage a complex project involving a lot of individuals in different cities and different countries and different time zones, it doesn't usually work that well. So let me actually do a short form video and a long form video on that, because that is a great topic. Now, when I say short form and long form, what I'm doing here, we're here for 3 hours. So this is sort of the ultimate long form video and unedited. But I use this time as a workshop to create videos that my editing team can turn into short form videos, meaning less than 60 seconds, and long form videos, ideally over 8 minutes, but it's really anything over 60 seconds. So let me talk about this issue because it does relate to a lot of people. So I'm going to hit record. I'm going to go to camera. I'll do this as a long form now. What do you need? I'm going to actually take a note at the time because I'm trying to hit 8 minutes. We're about 13 and a half minutes in. What's the number one thing you need to do if you are an engineer, a good engineer, but you want to move up the career ladder and become a project manager? Chances are you have the technical chops you need. You probably have the educational credentials. So what are you missing? It's the communication component. If you want to be a great project manager, you have to know how to communicate with teams of people. It could be someone in the cubicle next to you. It could be a handful of people in your town, but it could be dozens and dozens of people scattered throughout the globe, different countries, different cultures, different time zones. And if you think you can just be logical and rational and type in short sentences exactly what you want, and everyone's going to understand it and do it, you are sadly mistaken. You're going to get stuck in the realm of just being the engineer who can do the work assigned. If you want to be a project manager, you have to communicate with people on their terms. Typically, that's going to mean you're going to have to speak to them, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's Microsoft Teams or some other platform. You need to be able to speak to human beings. You need to clearly articulate what the goals are. You need to get feedback from your team. You need to really Listen to them. Let them know you're hearing them, because if people on your team do not feel listened to, they're not going to do what you ask them to do. They're not going to listen to you as intently. So, being a project manager does mean you have to have more elevated communication skills. It doesn't mean just being up on stage and walking around and telling people your grand vision. Now, you may have to do some of that, but it means really listening closely. Sometimes you're going to have to, get close, really look at people, whether it's face to face or online, and give them a sense of what it's about. You may occasionally be at some big conference where your whole team is there, and you do have to lay out a vision in a compelling way, in a confident way. But so often, it's going to be you just talking to them one on one through Zoom, small group meetings on Zoom. And you've got to learn the skill of communication. First of all, you need to simplify the key goals you're trying to accomplish. You need to listen to your team to figure out what ideas do they have that can help you all complete this project and do it in the most efficient way, at the highest quality way. You've got to work with them to come up with a strategy, and you've got to nail down the exact tactics and be clear about it. It's virtually impossible to over communicate as a project manager. The biggest problem with most teams around the world is they don't really know what in the world they're supposed to do. There's this ambiguity. And in the project manager's mind, well, it's perfectly clear. I said it once 3.5 weeks ago. I sent it in a memo. It's clearly all laid out in paragraph 3 of that strategy memo I sent a month ago. That's just not how the human memory works. It's not how human brains process information. If you want your team consistently marching in the same direction, advancing goals, you have to communicate on a regular basis, ideally on a daily basis. You're going to have to repeat yourself. And you're also going to have to really listen on a daily basis, because it may be your team has done exactly what you said you wanted them to do, and there's a problem that you didn't foresee. If you take the attitude of, I'm the boss, I'm the project manager, do as I say, you're not going to be very successful. So the line of communication always has to be open between everyone on your team and you. And you have to be communicating with them constantly. Now, many people had a tough childhood, and maybe their parents did nothing but criticize, and they figured, well, that's why I'm successful. The one time I got an A-, my parents yelled and screamed at me, and I learned right then I have to work hard and always get an A. Okay, so maybe that worked for your childhood. Guess what? That is not going to work in the workplace. You get a collection of individuals working in different places. And if you think you can communicate constantly just by pointing out flaws, just by pointing out mistakes, you are sadly mistaken. The vast majority of your communication with your team when you are managing a project needs to be giving positive reinforcement. Let them know what they are doing well so they do more of it. Let other individuals who haven't started on the project see how you're noting when people do well and you give praise. It motivates people. It excites people. And it gives them an incentive to do more positive things. So the most important thing you can really do is to give that positive reinforcement when people have done a good job. And it's not just that they did what you asked for, but they did something that created in positive. Note to editor, cut that out. It's that they've actually done something that helped the final. Time out. I'm messing up here a little bit. And this is what you see in this note to editor. Don't use any of that. More important, your team has actually created something that moved the bar, that actually helped the final project, help clients, or the entire organization. You need to give positive reinforcement for that. You can't overly be positive with people on your team. How often have you said to yourself, well, I hated the way my old boss or my old project manager gave me specific praise for the job I did? I bet you don't think that at all. So give praise. I don't mean butter people up and give them excessive flattery. I mean, give them highly specific feedback on what they are doing well and why it has a positive impact on your mission and your project. If you want to be a great project manager, that's what you have to do, because you're now being judged not simply on the basis of the code you write. You're being judged on how you are managing an entire team of people. Now, your team might be 2 people, but it might be 20, it might be 200. You've got to figure out how to get into the brains of these other people, not to control them, but to make sure they understand exactly what the project is. They've got to understand what your vision is. Your vision has to incorporate the insights and the intelligence of every single person on your team, and you can't do that unless you become a master communicator. So make no mistake about it. The technical skills that you earned in school and that you worked on at the beginning of your career got you to where you are. They're not going to take you to the next level. If you want to be a successful project manager and then a successful senior executive and perhaps one day even CEO, you have to become a master communicator. Okay, so that was about 7.5 minutes. So I'm hitting stop on the record there on the master recording. So that wasn't exactly as long as I want. I'm really shooting for 8 minutes because the YouTube algorithm rewards content that's 8 minutes and longer, and just being totally transparent with you. They want people on longer so they can show more ads. Now, I don't care that much about helping YouTube run more ads, except for the fact that if they can make more money, they're going to push my videos out to a lot more people. And I do want to reach more people. So that's a part of the incentive there and what I'm doing. So now let me talk specifically in a short form video, meaning something less than 60 seconds for that same format. Move my coffee cup. Try to get one frame here. Let's say you're a successful engineer, but you want to become a project manager. The engineering skills. Stop. Do that over. Let's say you're a successful engineer, but you want to move up and become a project manager. What do you need to do? The skills that got you to this place, the hardcore engineering skills, will not make you a successful project manager. You now have to become a great communicator. You have to listen to everyone on your team, and you have to communicate again and again and again the goals and the tactics as a team it will take for all of you to get there. You've got to learn your communication skills. Okay. So I'm not, being totally candid with you, I'm not as happy with that short form. And maybe I'll come back to that. Anyway, Hugo, I'm hoping that you found some of that a little bit helpful. And Hugo says, that's very helpful, TJ. Thanks. I learned the hard way the importance of soft skills, even in highly technical fields. So if you don't mind, Hugo, tell me what you mean by that. Were you passed over for a promotion? Did you get a promotion and you didn't have the skills and you got demoted? Or sometimes you get a promotion, but then you don't get future promotions because your skills seem just barely adequate for that job. If you care to elaborate, I'd love to hear from you. By the way, sometimes some of you may have a message for me you don't really want the whole world to know. We do have a private chat option if you join us on StreamYard. So Please keep that in mind. A couple of program notes today. I am going to try to cover several themes that I know are of interest to you and get these closer to becoming, if not daily segments, at least segments we hit every single week. One of them will be on body language, because I know so many of you are keenly interested in body language, improving your body language for your presentation skills. Another one is your voice, how to improve your voice, because so many people just don't like the sound of their own voice. And they're convinced that their voice is uniquely awful, even though typically it isn't. The third thing I know that people are always fascinated by are just common mistakes communicators make and how to avoid them. And the fourth theme is simply how to be more articulate. This is something that I've seen not only on my channel, but on a lot of other communicators' channels, that it always jumps out is high interest. People want to be seen as more articulate. So I'm going to be doing a number of videos specific to those topics. But also, if you have topics, I'm going to go to you first. So you're going to get preference on all of these topics when it comes to what I actually create right here. So we're doing several things at once. I'm trying to give value to you right here and make it worth your time to spend a little time here learning about being a better communicator. But I'm also doing this as my workshop of this is where I create my videos that are later edited and shared with people all over the world on every major social media platform. So you're going to see the behind the scenes aspect of how content is created, at least how I do it. There are many, many ways of creating video content and social media content. Some people think about it, brainstorm 1,000 ideas, narrow it down to the top 3, have elaborate script writing, revisions. They shoot all 3, massive amounts of editing, post-production, focus group those 3, and they only post 1. That works for some people. That's not my technique. My technique is typically I hear a question from you, I answer it in one take. Now, some people email me a question. Sometimes I might get it from ChatGPT, but I simply answer you as if you were right in front of me and we were working a one-on-one workshop, which is what I've done my entire professional careers, working face-to-face with one person or small groups of people, helping them become better communicators. Okay, we are at the half-hour mark. We started something new yesterday, and we're going to be doing this more. We're going to be inserting ads that sort of break up the flow of this. Also allows me to maybe drink some water without having to do it in front of you as much. I also am showing these ads because I want to motivate you to make your own ads. If you're doing your own podcast, if you're making videos on Facebook, you don't have to wait until your audience is so big that the platforms throw you money. You can be making ads as an influencer. So I'm going to do that right now and just show you some recent ads that I made as an Amazon influencer. And these ads are also now available as ads on YouTube and other social media platforms where I can get an affiliate commission. So full disclosure, anything you see here, I'm not a paid spokesperson by the brand, but I get affiliate commissions if you buy something. My main goal here is not to sell a lot of product today, but to get you into the game of thinking like a marketer, because I don't want you to be like these folks at Deadspin who had a job one day, had a salary, some of them 6-figure salaries, benefits, healthcare, and wake up one day, oops, I got nothing. I don't want you to be like that. If you are communicating and you can advertise and bring in your own revenue source, that gives you protection. So let's take a look right now. A setting that requires a tie. Calvin Klein does the job. Simple, elegant. I wear it on TV every day. If you're looking for simple elegance, nothing beats this Calvin Klein light blue business shirt. It doesn't distract. It looks great in person. It looks great on camera. I live in South Florida where it's hot. Other than when I'm on camera, I only wear linen shirts. This Untuckit linen shirt looks great, it feels great, and it doesn't wrinkle as much as others. This Perry Ellis maroon tie is simple, it's elegant, I can't wait to wear. This is my favorite color for a tie. It's not so red and bright and glary. It doesn't distract. It's simple elegance. This Tommy Hilfiger dress shirt is simple, it's elegant, it has the sort of fabric that gives me a little texture that I like, and it's wrinkle-free. You want something to go well with your suit? Give it a try. Everybody likes money, everybody needs money, but do you understand your psychological relationship to money? This book, Happy Money, will help you along that path, make you happier and ideally a little wealthier. Artificial intelligence is everywhere in the news these days. If you feel like you want a little deeper background, then I highly recommend AI Superpowers. It goes into the history of AI, the US, China, and elsewhere. It's a great foundation. If you enjoy warm beverages, but you don't want to have to microwave water or have a traditional kettle on all day long, this is the solution. This electric kettle heats my water quickly and it keeps it warm, or tea, all day long. This is almost magical. I no longer have to have matches around the house or lighters with lighter fluid. This electric lighter, I don't even know how it does it, but it lights, handles anything I need. I like to think I'm the Incredible Hulk and so strong I can open any jar, but I can't. That's why I love this. It helps me get any jar, any top off quickly and easily. Want to show mom you love her? Well, what better than a cup that says, I love mom. This is a hit on Mother's Day or any other day. I love fresh garlic in my food, but I can't stand mashing it up myself. That's why I love this garlic press. It is clean, easy to use. Okay, so we're back live now. And what you just saw was a series of commercials that I have made for the Amazon Influencer Program. The reason I'm fascinated by it is not that I'm trying to become the next Kim Kardashian, but what's fascinating about it is a way for more average people, ordinary people who are professionals in various niches, who are not successful Hollywood celebrities or Kim Kardashians. It is a way to actually make money as an influencer without the previous necessary ingredients of having millions and millions of followers. So we'll be talking about that more at the end, typically the last half hour of our program today, more around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be coming back to that. Hugo is with us and has talked about his challenges of trying to go from being an engineer to being a project manager and advancing in his career, and the need for communication skills. And he writes, I was given the task of managing a small team while working from home during the pandemic, which was what I wanted. I ended up finding it highly stressful, not due to the technical aspects of the role, but because I did not have the skills to manage and communicate. Well, Hugo, I feel for you because you're a good engineer, presumably because you went to school for 4 years and you took classes on engineering every single day. And you weren't born knowing engineering skills. Excuse me for 1 second. I have a slight tickle in my throat. So that's why you became a great engineer, or certainly a competent engineer, as you got formalized training again and again and again. But now you're in a role where you have to communicate all day long with people on your team, and presumably you had no formal training on how to become a good communicator. Now, Hugo was nice enough to mention that he bought a few of my courses on communication 4 years ago, but he's honest enough to admit he never started any of them. Well, we're glad you're here now. But I mean, imagine if you signed up for engineering courses, but you never went to one. Or if you bought engineering textbooks, but you never opened them. You wouldn't really know how to do anything from an engineering perspective. So it's the exact same thing with communication skills. You've got to learn these skills. Now, you don't have to go to college and get a 4-year degree in communications. I do not advocate that. But you do need to learn. Hugo, one of the things I will recommend, first of all, tell me which one of my courses you've purchased. What you might find is my workplace communications online course on the Udemy platform. You can speak up at meetings. That is, I think, either my second most popular or most popular course of all time, and most lucrative and profitable. And it wasn't even a course I originally planned on doing. I sort of did it as a fluke one Tuesday morning in the summer about half a dozen years ago, because I had nothing else to do. And it ended up being something that really resonated with people, I think, in your shoes exactly. So if you don't have that course, I mean, they're typically on sale at a very good price. But if that is one of the ones you've already purchased, I recommend that you give it a try. So I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining me today. This is the TJ Walker Success Channel. This is the channel where we help people become more successful by building their communication skills and building your confidence in your communication skills. That's what we're doing. We're very, very focused. We're not here to talk about politics and sports and everything else, unless there's a very specific communications angle. Now, here in the United States, there is a political campaign going on. We try to avoid that because if I say a particular candidate did this well in a speech or did this poorly in a media interview, I instantly have partisans attacking me, ripping me to shreds, claiming I'm saying it for partisan reasons. So I don't talk about U.S. political figures typically. I do want to point out there was a major news story that emerged in the last 24 hours where a political organization is trying to stop a particular politician from becoming president. And they're going about it in a way that I think is fascinating and is sort of reaffirming a lot of beliefs I have about the modern media world and the communication world. So again, without naming the candidates, because I don't need people attacking me and starting flame wars on this channel about U.S. politics. That's the last thing we want. So I'm going to be a little bit opaque here, a little bit fuzzy. There's a prominent organization that announced yesterday that it's raising $50 million to run ads against a particular politician because they feel he is such a detriment to democracy. And they think he's just a horrible human being. So the typical way of doing that is you hire political consultants, you get a bunch of polling, you hire very sophisticated political marketers, political media consultants to create slick ads. And I don't say that in a negative way. That's something I used to do and did for many years, way back in the 80s, early 90s. So I'm not against the profession of political media consulting, but they're doing something very different here. This organization isn't using any professionally produced media commercials. They're not doing the traditional 30-second spot, 15-second slickly edited spots with music and graphics and the candidate with the nose growing and all that. No, they're doing exclusively simple videos that people make on their cell phone who talk about why they used to vote for that candidate, why they have supported that candidate in the past, and why they are no longer supporting that candidate. I think that's fascinating because it does show a continuation of this trend of people wanting real people talking to them, kind of shying away from the traditionally highly produced videos and highly produced ads. And the slickness and the music and the fast cuts and the editing and the graphic overlays and the design, all those things, they could afford to do that with a budget of $50 million. They're not spending a penny on it. What they are doing is setting up websites that allow individuals to upload their own video. Now, the people are not getting compensated for this. They want people who just feel passionately against this particular candidate and want to share that passion because they believe that that's going to be more authentic with the target audience. They believe it's going to resonate. So the other thing that struck me about this is they're not using any polling data, and they're not going to say, I don't like this candidate, and that's why you should vote for this candidate because he's great because of A, B, and C. That would be the traditional sort of marketing messaging strategy that a political organization would do trying to influence election. They're not doing that. They're not doing any positive messages about other candidates running for president. They're simply trying to drive up negatives about one particular candidate, and they're trying to connect with voters who are supporting that candidate by only using voters who had supported that candidate in other elections. It's pretty sophisticated when you think about it, because they want individuals who are seen as credible by the voters they're trying to convert. If it's someone who, for ideological reasons, always thought this candidate was a fool or ridiculous or a clown, they assume that's not going to resonate with the audience we care about. And I can definitely see the validity of that analysis. Now, here is the troubling thing, though. I don't want to make it sound like this is entirely positive. It does fit the narrative that we talk about here all the time, which is power is shifting to individuals who can speak out and communicate. That, I think, is an important trend, and it's a trend that can benefit you, and it has certainly benefited me. Where I do think it's negative is it does show that, once again, what gets attention, what gets funding is attacking negative things. If you want to say something positive about a candidate you like and you post it in a video, it might get 2 views. If you want to say this other candidate over here is a monster who eats baby children and kills people and beats little old ladies with a stick, and I have the proof right here, a video like that will get 1 million views probably, because sad to say, with human nature, people do like to gravitate towards conflict. They do like the negativity. And all of the algorithms on the very platforms we are on right here thrive on that because it gets more engagement, it gets people angry, it gets people sharing. This show right here could get instantly an audience 1,000 times larger if I spent most of my time denouncing politicians' political styles or communication styles I didn't like. So I do realize that, because then anyone else who doesn't like that particular candidate would share this, say nice things, leave comments, say, right on. You can get a lot more engagement that way. That's not the game I want to play. That's just a different game. So those are some trends I do think are important that we should be aware of. So yes, I think it's a good trend that power is flowing away from major gatekeepers controlled by a few major ad agencies and big media companies to individuals who just have a cell phone. I mean, if you have one of these and you can make a video by pressing a button, you might actually reach millions of more people than someone who has a traditional organization, media company, an ad budget, and an ad agency behind them. That's different. That is different in the history of the world. So that part, I think, is good. The fact that the whole campaign, $50 million, is going to be spent not giving anybody a sense of, here is the potential future for a country. Here are goals we as a country aspire to. The fact that that's not going to be mentioned even once, I do find it a little troubling. And it is unfortunately a part of the social media world where negativity is what gets clicks, engagement, growth, and often advertising dollars. as well at both ends. This group is funding it with $50 million of ad money. But if you are if you want to talk about news and politics, you're going to make a lot more money through a larger audience and larger ad revenue coming to you if you spend all of your time attacking a specific opponent, or 90% of your time talking about how awful Team B is. I'm Team A. Everyone on Team B is a complete monster. You can make money that way. That is a sad reality of our time. Hugo writes, there was a similar campaign run against Bolsonaro's reelection, the former president of Brazil. It had the appearance of an organic movement of voters explaining how deceived they were and why they would not vote for him again. So I didn't follow all the intricacies of that campaign, but it does sound very similar. And, these trends in political campaigns and what political consultants advise do typically filter out around the world, because quite often it's the very same political consultants doing it. And American political consultants are often seen in high demand around the world. You look at major democracies, and I myself have been brought into major elections in India and other European countries, South American countries. So once something works in one country, especially if it's been test marketed in a huge democracy like Brazil or like the United States, it then filters out to the rest of the world, because quite often it's the very same political consultants who are hired. Okay, let's hop into some other specific questions that have been brought up. Again, if you're just joining me, thanks for joining me. We come here to you live every day to talk about communication skills and to demonstrate communication skills, to give you the skills you need to be more successful and to help build your confidence to become a better communicator. Okay, so I am going through my notes of various questions people have talked about. Here's one. I have addressed it over time, but I want to talk about it again. I'm going to do a short form and a long form on this. So I'm going to go to camera 2, hit record. Clear my set a little. Try to get it in the right frame. Okay, TJ, you said practice on video, watch yourself. Yeah, I get it, but I just cringe when I see my own face, when I hear my own voice. I hear that a lot. If that's how you feel, you're not alone. But guess what? Everyone in your audience has to hear you. They have to see you. You need to know how you're coming across. So sometimes you just got to suck it up, bite the bullet, hit record, and watch. I guarantee you, if you do that 20 times in an hour, you won't cringe as much. Okay, so that's a topic that comes up. That was a little hard. I'll be transparent with you. That was a little hard for me to do in a short form. I'm going to try to take a stab at that as a long form video. And we'll see if I can give that a little more justice. So again, we are live here. I'm going to do things like adjust my tie because we're not stopping for commercial breaks every second, although we did just start running commercials. We are going to start using a few more produced elements in this show. We're producing them right now, but for the most part, it's not going to be fancy. It's going to be me live with you. If you want to join me on camera, you can. If you want to post questions in the comment section, you can. I'll respond to them. If you want to just watch and have it on as background while you're doing your email and other things, occasionally gleaning something of use, that is absolutely fine too. Okay, so I'm going to go to camera 1 and record this one. And I'm going to take a look at the time. I'm going to try to go, we're almost at 50 minutes in. I'm going to try to hit this at least 8 minutes. So what do if you listen to the experts like me and you've practiced your speech on video, you've recorded it, you did your best, now you're watching it, and all of a sudden, your only response is cringing. You can't stand the sight of your own face, your body. You can't stand the sound of your own voice. What do? Well, if you're like most people, you tell yourself, well, I learned never to do that again. I'm never going to practice on video to see myself. It's too painful. I'm just going to practice out loud, or maybe do it in a mirror, or read my speech to get comfortable and familiar. And, then I'll just wing it. Big mistake. Here's the thing. There are a lot of things in life. The first time you do it, it can be painful. The first time you take a walk as a baby, you're probably going to fall down, right? Imagine never learning how to walk just because of that pain of falling down the first few times. The first time you ever got on a bike, if you're like most people, you kind of wobbled and you maybe fell down, skinned your knee. But imagine if you never bothered to learn how to ride a bike. You'd either harm your ability to get to different places easily, or you would remove a lot of joy from your life if you like to ride your bike for fun. So almost anything worthwhile does involve a little discomfort. Learning how to write, maybe a long time for some of you. It was a long time ago for me, but the first time you wrote an essay and you got it back and the teacher circled with a red pen, you didn't put a comma here, you didn't have a period the right place here, you didn't use capital letters. There's certain pain there, right? Imagine if you'd said, well, I got that first test back, that first essay, and I got criticism, and I didn't like those red marks, so I'm never going to submit any of my written work again because it's too painful to get negative feedback from my teacher. And you never learned how to write. Now, could you survive? Certainly. There are jobs that do not require your ability to write or read, typically not very well paying, but you could. But wouldn't that be a shame? If you want to advance in your career, you need to be a better communicator. It really is that simple. If you want to be more effective just in civic life, sometimes just talking to family and friends, you need to be a better communicator. The number one way of doing that is to rehearse on camera. Now, you don't have to be in some big studio. You don't have a fancy camera. All you need is your cell phone, and nobody has to be around. You can sort of tiptoe into a closet if you want. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. Hold up your phone, hit record, and speak. Do some practice of a presentation, a talk, a briefing, and look at it. It comes down to this. If you hit play and you're watching yourself and you're going into this with the attitude of, I'm going to rip myself apart and I'm going to compare myself to the most beautiful Hollywood movie star, well, yeah, you're going to get discouraged. If you say, I'm going to compare my voice to the guy who does the movie trailers, who has the richest, most resonant voice in the world, yeah, you can be disappointed. But guess what? Nobody else is doing that. When you're in a business meeting and a colleague stands up to present, and they're giving you good ideas, useful ideas, ideas that are going to help you improve what you do, maybe make more money, save you time. I guarantee you, you're not looking at them saying, well, if only they look more like George Clooney or Julia Roberts or some other famous celebrity, then I'd look. No, that's not what you're saying. If they have a voice that is just perfectly normal, everyday voice, and you can hear them and you can understand them, I'm pretty sure you're not saying, well, their voice isn't as good as Morgan Freeman's, so I'm not going to listen to them. That's not what you're saying. If you can hear them and understand it and gain value, you're happy with their voice. guess what? The same rules apply to you. I don't want to seem unsympathetic, but I have to share something with you. Get over yourself. If you think that somehow you're uniquely awful, or, oh, I can't look at video myself, it makes me cringe, I'm cringeworthy, you're being selfish. What you're really saying is you don't care about putting forth your best ideas in the best way to your audience. You're saying, poor little me, I'm so special and I'm so important that a little bit of discomfort for me is more important than everyone I'm speaking to for the rest of my career being bored out of their minds potentially. Because let's face it, that's the real problem with most presentations in the world, especially in the business world. It's not that you stand up and you speak and all of a sudden people are pointing and say, look, TJ's hairline is awful. Look, TJ's tie is a little crooked. That's not the real danger for any of us. The danger for most people when we give a presentation, whether it's to one person, one prospect, one person interviewing us, or to 5 or 6 people, or to a larger group of 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000, the biggest danger most of us face on a regular basis is we stand up, we speak, nobody notices how we look, nobody notices anything about our voice. All they notice is, wow, this TJ guy just bored me to death. Thank goodness I brought my cell phone so I can ignore him and I can check email and I can check text and I can get caught up with other things because he was so boring. That's the number one problem everybody faces. The number one solution to that problem is you have to rehearse your presentation on video and then look at it and ask yourself the tough questions. Not, am I totally beautiful? I know I'm not. Not, is my voice the most beautiful voice ever? Mine isn't. You have to ask yourself the question, is what I'm saying understandable, interesting, and memorable? And would I want to listen to this person? Those are the questions you need to ask. And you can't simply practice out loud and give intelligent answers to those questions. You have to watch yourself. You cannot multitask, be thinking about those questions while you're delivering it. Because sometimes it can feel like you're doing a great job, but then you watch it and you think, oh my gosh, this is really boring. So that's what I want you to think of to help you get over. And again, I realize I'm sounding harsh and mean. Oh gosh, TJ's mean. I'm not mean. I want to help you. But I can't help you if you're not willing to help yourself. So this hurdle of I am sort of uniquely awful. I'm going to cringe every time I see myself on video. Therefore, I'm never going to practice on video. It's only hurting you. It's not hurting me. Frankly, it helps my business because the more people in the world who are bad speakers, it just means the people who come to me and my clients stand out as that much better. It increases the demand that someone's boss tells them they got to take one of my courses. So you're only helping me, but I want to help you. I really do. And it's this mind, it's not a technical problem. It's not a money problem. It's not a finance problem. You don't have to hire me for $10,000 or $20,000 a day. It's something you can do for free in your own closet if you want to. Practice speaking, record it on video. And I do mean video, not just audio. You need to see yourself and hear yourself and get over this initial hurdle and keep practicing until you can look at the video of yourself speak and you can give the following answers to these questions. Yes, the person on this video is understandable. Yes, the person on this video is interesting. Yes, the person in this video is giving memorable ideas. Yes, the person in this video is coming across comfortable, confident, and relaxed. And yes, if this weren't me, I would want to watch that person. When you get to that point, you will be a successful communicator, and the cringe will be gone. Okay, so I'm looking at the time, 59. Okay, I think we're okay on the time. So sometimes my problem is that I go too short. I try in general to be as succinct as possible. And those of you who have taken any of my online courses have probably noticed that I do a lot of lectures, single video lectures, 2 minutes long, because I take the attitude of I want to speak as long as it takes to be helpful to you, but as short as it takes to make the point across. So the YouTube thing is a slightly different format for me of trying to hit like an 8-minute mark. So now I'm going to do the very same question, and I'm going to try to do it as a YouTube short form. And I see our good friend Madhav has joined and says hello. Madhav, good to hear from you. If you have a question, feel free to post. If you have a topic you want me to address, or if you want to come on and share the screen with me, feel free to. So let me, by the way, sometimes it's easier to do a long video than it is to do a short video. Sometimes it's easier to do a short than a long. It just depends. So again, the topic of what do you do if you just cringe. Now, I don't think I did that short version yet, but won't hurt to have a second one. So I'm going to go to camera 2. What do you do if the second you watch yourself on video, you just cringe? You hate seeing your own face. You don't like your own voice. I'm sorry, but you got to get over it. There's pain in anything new. The first time you walked, you probably fell down. There was pain there. Imagine going through life never walking. If you want to be a good communicator, you have to actually see the final product. You need to see a video of yourself and be able to say, yes, this person looks confident. Yes, this person is interesting. Yes, this person is giving useful information. Yes, this person is giving me ideas that are memorable. Yes, I would actually watch this person if it weren't me. Until you can answer those questions, you're not really ready to stand up and speak. Okay, so that one, I think I hit the time. Okay, it was clearly under 60 seconds. Sometimes I'll do a short form, and the long form doesn't seem as good. I feel like I really nailed it in a short form video. Other times, it's the reverse. I feel like the long was great, and the short one, I just was in such a hurry, I wasn't able to really explain it. Now, the other nuances there is sometimes I'll do a short, and I'll think, wow, that really wasn't very good. Or if I look at the final edit, I think, wow, so much of that was chopped out to make it short. That might not be that useful to people. And then that's the most successful of the video of the week, and it got 7, 8, 9, maybe 10,000 views. So it's very hard to judge a lot of these things. That is why people like Gary Vaynerchuk, the social media entrepreneur and expert, stresses put out more content, because you just don't know what's going to work with an audience. And too many people stay in their own head for too long. And you want to think about this masterpiece for a month, and you spend a lot of time writing, rewriting, editing it, and you put all your time and energy into it, and maybe gets 2 views. Now, what he recommends and what I try to do is you're putting out a lot of content each month, and sometimes each day, because you don't really know. You don't trust your gut to know exactly what the world wants. But by putting out a lot, you're running a whole lot of tests, and then the marketplace sends signals back to you. That is what's happened to me, because you have spoken to me and you've told me you really like videos I do that relate to the topics of body language, voice, common mistakes, and how to be articulate. So we're going to be doing regular series on all of those things. If you're just joining me, I'm TJ Walker. This is the TJ Walker Success Channel. This is where we help people become more effective communicators and more confident communicators. If you have questions, feel free to post them. You can join me live right here by going to StreamYard. We've posted the link to that in the comments section, but you can also find the link posted each day in the TJ Walker Success YouTube community tab. If you just go to my YouTube page, you hit the community tab, and you'll see one of the last couple of posts says, if you want to join me today live, it gives a StreamYard link. So we're happy to have you join us in that way. So I'm going to be doing some more short form and long form videos. Let me just make a note that I did that one so I don't redo it. Okay, I'm looking at various topics that I did. Okay. All right. So here's one that I've kind of talked about in different ways. Sometimes I'll get a topic suggestion. This one's coming from a company called vidIQ, where they help YouTube creators, and they'll actually have artificial intelligence suggest various topics because their research shows, and I've just hit something on my screen that messed up something. Okay, let me try to get back. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to do a topic that this one is suggested by vidIQ from their own artificial intelligence. And a little water before I hit record. You know, this time I'm going to try to do a short, then I'll do a long. Sometimes I'll reverse it. Before I do, I'm noticing a little shine. Again, I'm taking you behind the scenes, what video content creators had to think about and do step by step. I'm noticing a little shine. So I'm actually going to step away for a moment. I'm going to get my makeup kit, and I'm going to reapply lightly some powder. Now this powder, it's what we call a mosaic. It's just a different collection of colored powder. I don't want to change the color of my skin. I just want to very lightly circle it, get the different colors. I don't want it too hard, but I'm just noticing a little shine. Let me get under the eyes because I do have some foundation concealer there to cover up some dark circles. And now I just lightly want to do my forehead. And I even do the top of my head because it doesn't make me look like I have more hair, but it reduces the shine off the top of my head. But if I put too much of this, sometimes it can have like a dark ridge here, and then it's light and it looks weird. I don't want to call attention to makeup in my final videos unless I'm doing a video tutorial on makeup. But you're here, so I'm showing you behind the scenes of really what we're all about. Now you may see I'm mixing things. I have hot tea, hot green tea. That's what I try to drink throughout the day. I also drink water. Traditionally, I had three types of fluid. I had plain water. This is sparkling water. I do this in part because it fills me up, because I'm like a lot of people in the industrialized world. My biggest problem is too many calories, not too few. And I find by drinking sparkling water, it fills me up. I'm not as inclined to snack or overeat. That's why I'm doing it. But there are some risks if you're speaking a lot and drinking carbonated water, is it could make you belch. I don't think I've done that here. I'm going to try not to. But when you see me doing this, the warm tea sort of relaxes my throat. This water's room temperature, so it's not, sometimes the cold water can be a little too abrupt on your vocal cords. So that's what I'm doing there. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this topic. I'm going to try to do a short form video on this specific topic, and I'm going to bring back my email because I accidentally closed it. I want to make sure that I'm marking off a topic once I've done it. Doesn't mean I'll never do the topic again, but I don't want to do the exact same topic within a couple of week period or even a month period, because I want there to be variety. I want you to feel like you're getting something fresh and new. But I would also caution you, if you put so much pressure on yourself that every single piece of content you ever do has to be unique and never ever been done, you're going to run out of ideas quickly. And a lot of the most successful creators find themselves talking about similar topics again and again and again. So I just want to find that one. That's the one how to feel comfortable on camera. Okay. And excuse me, I do have a little bit of congestion today. I feel fine, but as you may have heard, I'm clearing my throat, which is not really what most vocal experts recommend as a best practice, but I find myself doing it. So, okay, I'm going to hit record. So what's the absolute best way to get more comfortable when you're on camera? Turns out it's exactly the same way you got comfortable riding a bike or walking or anything else. You simply did it. You made mistakes. You didn't get overly self-conscious. You went in the pool and you splashed around. That's how you got comfortable swimming. If you want to get more comfortable on camera, then get on camera every day. It could be a 10-second video for two friends on Facebook or social media, but do it every day. You will get more comfortable quickly. Okay. So I am trying to be I'm trying to be respectful of the different platforms because I am typically posting all of these videos on every single platform, every major platform. And today, right now, we are streaming on a couple of Facebook pages, LinkedIn, YouTube, not Twitter. We hope to do that tomorrow. But no, we are on Twitter. I'm sorry. TikTok, we hope to do tomorrow. And Instagram. So I mentioned Facebook. As I said it, I thought, uh-oh, I don't want the other social media outlets to feel excluded because they're sometimes jealous. So that's why if you look at it really carefully, you may have seen me almost wince a little, and I quickly said, and other social media platforms, so as to not seem like I'm giving leftover content meant for one platform to other platforms. So I share that with you just to give you a sense of things I do think other creators think about. Now, my content is a little bit different in that I'm not scripting things out. And in most cases, I'm not outlining. Most YouTube creators and social media content creators, if they don't have a script, often will have a fairly extensive outline. I'm not doing that most of the time. Sometimes I do. For the 80-minute communication skills masterclass I showed you yesterday, that was outlined, but I'll show you the outline. I mean, this was 80 minutes right here. So I obviously am not scripting out word for word or paragraph by paragraph everything I'm going to say, because that's not, I could read all that to you in less than 60 seconds. So that's just one way of doing it. You do not have to do it my way, but it's one way. And I want you to at least see the option. To me, the beauty of my approach is it's easy, at least for me. And I do think it would be easy for most people most of the time once they get over the initial hump. The hard part for most people is learning how to think while they're talking. In fact, let me do a video on that very subject. Sometimes I'm talking out loud and I realize that's a topic that would resonate to people. I'm going to write that down. Otherwise, I'm going to forget it, because I've got to do the long form of the topic of how to be comfortable. So, how to think on your feet, we'll call it. Okay. Excuse me one sec. I'm going to hit mute because I just want to cough a little bit because my throat has some, I don't know, a polite way of saying it, has some junk in it. So I'm going to hit mute one sec. Okay, we're back. I don't feel like I have any cold, so I'm not. Oh, I left the curtain open. Don't want to mess up the light. So I don't want any or expect any sympathies from anyone. I feel fine otherwise. Okay, so first things first, I want to do a long form video on how to build a comfort level on camera. We're going to go to camera 1. Hit record. And I'm going to take a look at the time. It's 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 30 seconds. So how can you become more comfortable on camera? If you're like most people, you can be really comfortable talking to your best friend or talking to 2 colleagues over lunch or dinner or enjoying your favorite beverage, talking about a sports event. You're comfortable. You're relaxed. You're in the zone. You're not thinking about how am I coming across. But once a camera's on, there's bright lights on, there's microphones there, that's when we tense up. We feel uncomfortable. If that's ever happened to you, it just means you're a normal human being. You're not comfortable doing that because it's strange. It's weird. Anytime you're in a completely new environment, it's natural to feel uncomfortable. If you've never ever been in a swimming pool and you don't know how to swim, someone throwing you in the pool is going to feel pretty uncomfortable. Even walking in up to your knees is going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel scary. Well, it's exactly the same thing when you're speaking in front of a camera. Now, you might not have to swim on a daily basis for your job unless you're a professional swimming teacher. But these days, more and more people do find that a part of their job is to speak in front of a camera. Whether it's conducting meetings on Zoom, interviewing people virtually, maybe making a video newsletter about what your team is up to be shared with other colleagues in your organization once a week. You have to be on camera, whether you like it or not. Now, you might not try to become this massive Mr. Beast social media influencer. You're just trying to do your job, and you got to speak on camera, but every time it makes you uncomfortable. So how can you solve that problem? Now, I can't promise I can make you the next Oprah Winfrey and be so warm and comfortable on camera. People give you billions of dollars. No one can promise you that. But I can promise you that I can help you be a lot more comfortable on camera and get you to the point where you're not perspiring, you're not getting flop sweat, you're not thinking, oh, I hope this would hurry up and finish and over. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I can't stand this. Because that is what happens to so many people who are professional, intelligent, hardworking, educated, and have good ideas to share with people. The biggest problem most people have is they're just not on camera enough. Imagine if you only drove a car once every 5 years. I don't know about you, but I would be pretty nerve-wracking. Cut. Note to editor, redo that part. Imagine if you only drove a car once every 5 or 7 years. I don't know about you, but I would find that very nerve-wracking. I'd be thinking, oh, I forgot what I do. Where's the brake? Where's the clutch? Do I check these mirrors? How do I make sure the wipers go? All of these things I'd be thinking about because I hadn't done it in 5 years. How do I know when I'm changing lanes that I won't bump into someone? It would be a nerve-wracking experience. But since I drive a car almost every day, or certainly every week, I just hop in the car and I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about where I want to go or what I'm going to do for fun. Once you get to the point where you're on video, you're speaking to a camera often enough, you'll be so comfortable, you can focus your mind on other issues, bigger issues, like am I actually communicating with this person? Am I being memorable to the people watching this? Am I being interesting to people on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or Twitch or any other place watching this video? You could focus on that. But it does take a while to build a comfort zone because There's something inherently a little bit scary about speaking to a camera, because when you're speaking to a camera, intellectually, you realize, okay, this is being recorded, or it could be recorded. It could be sent to the whole world. In theory, if I say something really stupid, it could be seen by 8 billion people. Now, that's not going to happen. But inside your brain, there's a part of you thinking that is a risk. That's scary. So I understand feeling a little uncomfortable. But you've got to look at what the other risk is. If you don't speak on camera and you just stay hidden, you don't speak out, there is another huge risk. That is the risk of obscurity. That is the risk of your clients, your customers, your bosses, your colleagues not knowing what you're doing, wondering if you're doing anything, wondering about your competence. If you can't articulate what you're doing, what the value is you're providing, and doing it on camera, these days, it's almost like you don't exist. Not everyone has a final work product that just stands on its own. We have to talk about our work. Even best-selling authors, novelists have to talk about their work. They have to go on talk shows and be in front of cameras to talk about it. So virtually nobody can simply do the work, never speak, and never speak on camera. Speaking on camera is now as commonplace as speaking on the phone was for the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Sure, there was a time in 1925 when you could get along fine in your career without speaking on the phone. But after a while, that really limited your career. I want you to get to the point where talking in front of a camera is no different than talking to your very best friend who is 2 feet away from you in a completely comfortable environment. And the number one thing that will do that is to simply seek out more opportunities to speak. Now, for many people, it's a simple function of you're invited to a Zoom call. Maybe there's 10, 20, maybe 50, maybe 1,000 people on it. Turn your camera on and ask one question. The human nature thing to do is, I don't want to be in front of everyone. My question's not that important. They seem to be short on time. Meanwhile, the host or the moderator is saying, are there any questions? Oftentimes, there are no questions. And also the thought is, if I say this, what if it's not a good question? What if people think I'm stupid? I'll just keep it to myself. Chances are you wouldn't do that if you were in a face-to-face meeting with 2 colleagues. If you got a question in your mind, you just throw it out because you're relaxed, you're comfortable. Something that will make you more comfortable speaking on camera is treating that online meeting the same as if it were a meeting with 2 people. So first step, turn your camera on. Let people see you. Let your brain be aware of the fact that other people can see me. It's going to feel a little uncomfortable at first, especially if there are a lot of people on the call. And then ask a question. Don't worry about how smart it is. Don't worry about if your grammar is perfect or if you mispronounce a word. No one's going to remember or care. Instead, just ask one question. You can do it maybe in 7 seconds. Ask the question, listen. Be on camera when the other person is answering your question. Look at them. Nod. All of these things will accumulate in your body and your brain, intellectually and just psychologically. You'll start to be more familiar with speaking on camera. And it's going to make it easier for the next time and the next time and the next time. Now, my last big tip, I know you're not going to like it. You may even think, well, that may work for other people, but I'm not going to do it. But the biggest tip of all, this last tip, is you need to watch yourself in video after you've spoken. Yeah, I really want you to do that. Whether it's a Zoom call, whether it's a quick 30-second update you made for everyone on your team, I need you to watch yourself on video But here's the tricky part. Watching yourself on video is easy, but the hard part is not fixating on what you don't like. Oh my God, I said once. Wow, I'm getting fat. It's easy to pick yourself apart. Not helping you. It's not helping you at all. If you want to build comfort in front of the camera, if you want to be just as comfortable talking on camera as you are talking to your best friend in person, you need to watch yourself every time you appear on video. And you need to do just one thing. You got to figure out what you liked about yourself and make a mental note to do more of that in the future. Do not, I repeat, do not fixate on the fact that you said one or two ums. Don't fixate on the fact that, oh, your tie was a little crooked, or your blouse, your scarf was crooked, or your pocket square was crooked. Now, if it's that like that, make a note not to do that again. That looks ridiculous. But figure out, what is it you like? Do not obsess over the flaws. Let me get this just right here, or at least so that it's not distracting. I want you to build your strengths, to figure out what you like. I want you to start a fan club for you on camera. I know it sounds cheesy. I realize it sounds silly. It works. I'm completely comfortable talking to you now, and it's not because I do everything perfectly or have a perfect head of hair or anything else. I'm comfortable because I know exactly how I'm coming across. I'm coming across the way I want to. I'm coming across the way I think is my very best. And I'm convinced I'm giving ideas that are useful to you, or a lot of people like you. So it's very difficult for me to actually be uncomfortable in a situation like that. That's where I want you to be. You can do it, but you've got to seek out every opportunity possible to speak on camera. Ask questions whenever you can, when you're invited to a meeting. And then watch yourself. If not every second of every single meeting, at least 10, 20 seconds. Make notes of what you like. Do more of that. Build your strengths. And over time, you'll be just as comfortable on camera as you are at your favorite restaurant talking to your best friend. Okay, now I forgot the time that started. I think we're okay on time there. Again, what I'm trying to do is do long form videos that are typically at least 8 minutes long. We've had a few other folks join. Madhav has joined us, and Sherry Sunshine says, good morning, I'm late. Well, Sherry, thanks so much. We're still kind of working out the kinks here on this program. I am trying to do it live 9 a.m. to noon Eastern time, Monday through Friday. There are a few exceptions. Thursday's a little bit different because we do a special live session just for my Udemy students on our Facebook page for Udemy students. But for the most part, we're trying to do this 9 to noon. But I mean, yeah, yesterday we had technical problems. I couldn't get my earpiece to work properly. And I don't think we started until 9:16. So Sherry, no apologies necessary. Very much. Wow, I'm noticing for some reason, let me go to a different camera angle. For some reason, I was noticing pixelation and my autofocus seemed to be jumping around there. So sometimes just going to a different camera angle, you get a fresh feed, and then we come back. So it seems like it's okay now. I have my camera setting on continuous autofocus, and it's looking for a face. So it will occasionally mess things up if I have my face and something I want to show, like some text right next to it. And one of those will become blurry. But Sherry, back to you. No need to apologize. I'm happy you can come in anytime. This show is created in a way that there's not a traditional beginning, middle, and end. It's not like a sitcom where you miss the first 5 minutes, you're not going to understand the jokes in the next 10 minutes. It's meant to sort of come in and sample. If you can come in for 10 minutes a day and maybe post a question I can answer for you, you get some value and leave, I'm perfectly happy with you staying for 10 minutes. I do want to thank all of you for joining today who have stopped by. We have people from YouTube joining us today, Facebook, LinkedIn. We've been going live on LinkedIn, Twitch, which is a platform I'm not as knowledgeable about. I do know a lot of gamers are there, but it is a great platform for people who like live content. We are on Twitter X, and appreciate those of you stopping by. And as of yesterday, we're now broadcasting live on Instagram. So I want to say hello to our Instagram friends. And I hope tomorrow, keep our fingers crossed, we'll be able to go live on TikTok. So trying to reach as many people around the globe on as many platforms as possible. That is what is so exciting about being in the modern world, and is really so different from when I started my career in the early 80s, where I had to spend almost all of my time banging on doors, radio stations, TV stations, radio networks, TV networks, begging, just to be able to get on to even have the possibility of being seen and heard by people. Now, anyone can do it, and it's completely free. If you can borrow a cell phone from one family member or friend and somehow borrow internet connection, it's completely free. So the world has changed. It's very unfashionable to talk about how the world is getting better. I would get a lot more ratings if I talked about how everything is horrible and worse than ever and the world is being destroyed. That plays a lot more. It makes you seem more sophisticated. But the reality is the world is making massive progress all the time. Doesn't get as much media attention. Incremental improvements don't get massive media attention the way one plane crashing today gets a lot of media attention. So I want to thank you for joining. Sherry, do you have a question, a comment, a thought? Do you have a video you want to critique? What's bringing you here? And I don't want to put you on the spot if you just wanted to come and have some morning coffee and do other things and maybe learn a tip or two. But I'd very much appreciate if you can share any thoughts you have on your own journey to become a better communicator, because the mission here is really about helping everyone be more effective as communicators and more confident as communicators. Okay, I know that I had just talked myself into another topic that I wanted to do, and I wrote it down because I thought I would forget. Oh, how you can think on your feet. I'm going to do a short form video on that. It's obviously related to the last video I just did, which was how to be comfortable on camera. You can't really think on your feet until you're comfortable on camera. So they relate together. So there's going to be some repetition. Gary Vaynerchuk, the social media guru, says he gets a lot of criticism all the time from people saying, you're repeating yourself. You're saying the same old thing. And he says, yes, I do, because it's important. And he does repeat himself a lot. I've noticed that about him. You know what else I've noticed? He has about 170 million people he reaches per month across all social media platforms. So maybe he's doing something right. So give that some thought. I would be cautious about criticizing yourself for being overly repetitive, and be careful about making an edit or a change if you do create content regularly, just because one or two people says, oh, you're being repetitive. Now, if you make a video and you get 100 comments and all 100 say, this is the same old stuff you said last week, it's boring and we're not coming back, okay, I'd pay attention to that. But if you have 100 comments and 99 are positive or substantive or asking follow-up, and one person says, yeah, this is repetitive, I've heard you say this before, I wouldn't let that bother you at all. Okay, so I'm gonna run ads a minute. Again, I'm being totally transparent with you. Normally, when people produce things, they want to stop and go wash their face or something. They just do it, no one notices. There's some irritant in the air. I'm actually going to take a cold washcloth to my face, put makeup on again, because I don't want to be scratching myself in front of you repeatedly. So we're going to go to, I'm going to run a few more ads for you. These are very simple ads that I've made. It's not that I want you to purchase every product, but I want you to see how simple social media ads and specifically Amazon influencer ads can be these days. So these are ones that I've made and am making some money on. Every day I wake up, I go to my Amazon influencer account and I see, okay, here are these 3, 4, 5, sometimes 7 products sold, and I get little affiliate commissions from each one. Almost anyone can do it. You do need basically 1,000 followers on one social media platform. Amazon lets you in, and you could make these simple videos. So I'm going to play these for you. And I think I still have it in here. Is easy to clean up and makes my food taste great. Yes. Father's Day is a special day in my household. This year, my daughter gave me this world's greatest farter, I mean father. She does have a sense of humor and likes to tease dad a little bit. In my household, we use Cascade Platinum Plus. It's simple, it's easy to use, there's no mess. I take it and throw it in the dishwasher. Don't have to worry about it. Get a big box so it lasts a long time. Let's face it, sometimes kitchens, bathrooms, homes don't smell perfectly. That's why Febreze air is in our house. It quickly makes any room smell better. This Kenneth Cole all-leather reaction bag is fantastic. I've had it for 15 years. It looks as good as the day I bought it. You're gonna love it. I love these water shoes. I live in Florida and I take my daughter to water parks frequently. And if you're barefoot, your feet hurt too much by the end of the day. Or sometimes going on a beach where there's coral. These will protect. When I'm not on camera, I wear glasses all day long. They get dirty, they get greasy. I love my Magic Fiber. It cleans it so easily, quickly. I try to keep one in my pocket, in my briefcase, and at home at all times. Do you see the sunshine here? No, you don't, because these are great blackout curtains. I have them in my TV studio, and it keeps the light out and gives me what I need, control of the lighting. This 128 gigabyte SanDisk is massive. I produce lots of video every day for things like this. I need something that can store it. This is the ticket, 128 gigabytes. This curtain rod does exactly what I asked it to do. Now these are heavy blackout curtains, but no problem. The curtain stays up all the time. The rod does exactly what it needs to do. This rug is perfect for my TV studio. It blends in, it doesn't distract, it doesn't get too busy the way this carpet underneath it does. It's perfect for my needs if you're looking for a simple carpet. This camera mount is fantastic. I can use it at any degree. Right now it's facing me, but I can angle it so it goes down and looks on my papers or anything I'm demonstrating. It's really flexible. If you're in a business setting that requires a tie, Calvin Klein does the job. Simple, elegant. I wear it on TV every day. If you're looking for simple elegance, nothing beats this Calvin Klein light blue business shirt. It doesn't distract. It looks great in person. It looks great on camera. I live in South Florida where it's hot. Other than when I'm on camera, I only wear linen shirts. Okay, we're back live. I did just, again, I don't want to give you too much information. I did just run to the restroom and washed my face off and then put a new, there's still a slight itch there. I apologize. There's a slight itch. And so I washed my face off. It just seemed like some irritant had gotten on. And then I put a very light dusting of that same mosaic powder on so as to not shine in front of you. So we do little things like that from time to time. Again, taking you behind the scenes. You wouldn't see anything like that in a normal produced, edited video. I'm not going to make an entire edited video on that, but that's part of what you get by being behind the scenes here with me in these live sessions. You see how things really go. You see the hiccups, the problems, but I also hope that you see, you can actually produce a lot pretty quickly. So often people psych themselves out. Well, I'd like to produce a once a month video, but I'd have to script it and schedule studio time and this and that before you realize you've created this workflow that seems like an impossible task. So why bother? And then you don't. I've certainly seen this with corporate clients of mine where someone in the corporate communications team will get a budget of $250,000. They'll build a studio, they'll build cameras, they'll have nice facilities and a set because they're going to do a weekly or monthly town hall meeting with the CEO. And I go back to that company to conduct a training a year and a half later. I walk by the studio and I say, "Oh, how's your studio doing?" Invariably, the response is, we just haven't gotten around to it yet. People fixate on the technical stuff, the equipment, the infrastructure. But if your CEO is uncomfortable speaking on camera, they will instantly, quickly come up with excuses to why there's no time for this. Oh, we can't fit it in the schedule, or there's no time for the scripting, or all these excuses people have. So be careful about that trap. And that's part of what I'm trying to do here, is to demystify this process to make it easy for you. Okay. So now I'm going to go into another video. And again, Sherry, if you have any quick questions or comments, or anyone watching, I give preference to you. If you have a question you want me to address, I'm going to go to you. If you have a video of yourself on social media and you want professional feedback, all you have to do is post it in the comments section. We'll play it, watch it together, unless you don't want me to, and then I'll give you a critique. So it doesn't cost anything. You might as well take advantage of it. Okay, so the question that I'm going to do now for short form is, how do you think on your feet? Because that is a question I get a lot. Let's do a short form on that first. So what's the best way to learn how to think on your feet? Because if you're like most people, you're really comfortable and confident talking to one person, things just flow. But you stand up in front of 5, 10, 50, or 100 people, and all of a sudden you can't think. The way to learn how to think on your feet is by speaking more frequently. Raise your hand to ask questions whenever you can. Volunteer for speeches. Make a social media video every day, and thinking on your feet will become commonplace. So, disclosure with you, I didn't love that. I mean, I think there's good advice. I didn't really like my clothes. Part of the challenge with the short form videos, at least the way I do them, not scripting it out, is sometimes you've hit your main point. You kind of want to end it because you don't want to go too long. And then you're not sure you really summarized it the right way. Now, what I might do, and I've occasionally done here, is I'll do one, and then I'll just say, note to editor, don't use that. I'm going to do another one. Because I'm doing 60 short videos a month, and you can do the math, hundreds and hundreds a year, I don't do it the same way someone who does one short video a month, where they put tremendous amount of time. There's tremendous pressure for any one short video to be great, be blockbuster, and go viral. My threshold is not that I want to put out garbage, but I do think if there's one idea there that can really help one person, or one type of person, then let's get it out there. More is more. That's my general philosophy. Yeah, there's different styles. Mr. Beast certainly has teams and teams of people of research, writing scripts, concepting. Sometimes they'll produce entire 20-minute videos, spend millions of dollars on, and then just decide, not quite good enough, we're not going to run it. It's obviously working for Mr. Beast. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm assuming that most of you are not. This channel is really geared towards people who are not full-time entertainers or aspiring to be full-time entertainers. I appreciate entertainment. I appreciate humor, but this channel is not a laugh a minute. People are not coming here to get that quick laugh. The way last night I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm because I know I'm going to get a lot of laughs on that HBO show. That's not what this is about. This is about helping you with information, tools, tricks, techniques to become a better communicator. So most of what I talk about is geared towards people who are trying to share their insights, their knowledge, their information, and educate people, inform people when they're speaking online. It's not about how to get 10 million views because you're a world-class entertainer and really funny. That's basically a different beast. And I don't mean Mr. Beast. It's just a whole different genre. Okay, so now let's do one. I'm looking at again, this is how elaborate my notes are. A lot of time I keep everything in my head. Today I scribbled just a few notes. I won't even ask you to try to read it. And the last one is, how do you think on your feet? So I'm going to attempt to do a long form on that, ideally at least 8 minutes long, because that's what is easiest for my editors to start with so they can create an 8-minute video. And that is what is most helpful to the YouTube algorithm. Now, I mention YouTube a lot. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, a lot of different platforms. YouTube is the first among equals because YouTube does the best job of helping people find your content over the long haul. It is more search engine friendly because it is also a search engine. So there's more strategic value to that. I did a video 10 years ago on media training, 55-minute video, everything I teach people about media training. It gets views every single day. It's had more than 100,000 views, and it gets quality views. It often generates clients, paying customers and clients of mine, people who hire me for professional media training or buy some of my online media training courses. So I simply have never found anything like that happen by posting videos on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or any place like that. Those are more ephemeral. Yeah, you can sort of catch people as they're going by that day, but after that, that's about it. Also, YouTube, to its credit, has gone out of its way to try to help creators figure out how to make a living. Now, I've been fortunate because before I ever started anything on YouTube, I had a sort of a traditional training business model where people would hire me for a day, and I still do that. I show up, I teach them very specific skills, get them on camera, and they pay me a very nice fee, typically a month before it happens. So when I started making videos, I had sort of the luxury of I didn't have to instantly figure out how to make money from this. And I could take money from my training business to pay production cost. A lot of people don't do that, can't do that. And YouTube, to their credit, has spent a lot of time trying to think about how they can make it easier for people to be creators and make a living. Now, not everyone makes millions or billions of dollars, but there are a lot of people who are making 6 figures or more. I don't want to make it sound easy. And certainly 97% of content creators don't make 6 figures a year from their online content creation, but millions do. So if it's something you're looking at, there's a lot of great resources. I'm one piece of the puzzle for you because so many people are still uncomfortable about speaking on camera that all the other things you need to figure out to do about how to make your merch and how to do brand deals, none of that matters if you're not actually creating content on camera. So I'm hoping that that's useful to you. Okay, so let me do a long form video on this topic of how do you learn how to think on your feet? Whoop, wrong camera angle. Okay, and I've hit record. And the timing, we're just shy of 1 hour, 50 minutes. So how do you get to the point where you can think on your feet, whether you're standing, giving a speech or presentation, or on camera? Well, don't be worried. No one is a natural at this. Nobody started off that way. My first speech, I was standing over a script, reading it word for work because I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't trust myself to think on my feet. Now, you might not be at that level, but chances are you might be turning around to read bullet points because you don't want to forget anything. If you want to know how to get so comfortable speaking in front of people that you can think on your feet, you need to realize a couple of things. First of all, it's relatively easy to appear to think on your feet, even if you're not. You can do that by glancing at a single sheet of notes. Note to editor, I should have brought my script over. We're not going to use this part. And we'll come back in a minute. For example, I just gave a 1-hour presentation. I referenced these notes the whole time, but it's a single sheet of paper. I didn't have to pick it up and touch it. I didn't have to turn the pages. I didn't have to glance down like that because I could glance at it when I put down my cup of tea or glass of water. So there are ways of creating the illusion of just thinking on your feet and speaking, even though you're following an outline. So that's the first really, really big tip I'd recommend to you is cheat a little, have an outline, but do it in such a way that your audience is unaware. It doesn't matter if you're speaking to 2 or 3 people, you can have it right in front of your desk or even on the floor. You could be speaking to 5,000 people in a room. You could have it on a table or on the stage. You could be speaking to people online and just have it sitting on your keyboard. And you're just occasionally glancing down as if you're reflecting for a moment. You're looking at your notes. So that's the easiest way to get a lot better at appearing to think on your feet. Now, why do you want to be seen as someone who thinks on their feet? Because we as human beings think it's hard to do. So when we see someone else appearing to just speak and walk around and talk and thinking on their feet, we think, wow, I could never do that. Look how comfortable they are. Look how commanding they are. That's why you want to be seen as someone who can think on their feet, because you're instantly perceived as more intelligent, more confident, and more authoritative. So it is fantastic to be seen as someone who can think on their feet. So that is step 1. Use a simple outline. Oh, but TJ, I'm going to forget something. I got to write out sentence for sentence. The second you write out sentence by sentence, people are going to see this, you looking down, ignoring them, or they're going to see you reading the PowerPoint behind you, and they are going to perceive you as nervous, uncomfortable. You don't really know your stuff, and chances are you're boring. So you don't want to read. You already know you don't want to read. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching a video on how to think on your feet. So step 1, come up with an outline that just has sentence fragments where you can glance at it and know what you're going to say for the next minute or so. That's the first really important tip. The next way to get better at actually thinking on your feet is to speak more often, to remove the sense of weirdness, strangeness. The reason you can't think on your feet when you're speaking to people in business settings, formal settings, boardrooms, conferences, meetings, is you're uncomfortable. You're nervous. Now, you might not be visibly having flop sweat come down. Your hands might not be shaking, but there's a part of you nervous that, oh, I want to remember this. I want to get it just right. Because you're nervous, your brain is shutting down its ability to recall information. Adrenaline is flowing, and your brain is saying, hey, this is a risky place. There could be enemies here spotting us. Let's get ready to run. So because this adrenaline is flowing through your body and you're feeling nervous, it's just harder to think at all. You're only thinking about how to get out of here, how to finish it up, how to avoid humiliation. That is a big problem. Because let's question your assumption a minute. If you're here in this video, you may think you can't think on your feet. But wait a second. Isn't that what you do every time you get together with a friend and talk about a mutual interest, a sporting event, a concert you just went to, gossiping about a friend who did something silly. You're actually very good at thinking on your feet. Every interesting conversation you've ever had, you've been thinking on your feet. Now, you might be sitting down, but you might be standing in line on the way to a sporting event trying to get in. You already know how to think on your feet because it's what you do in every conversation. So, what we're really talking about is how do you think on your feet when it's not just a friendly personal conversation with a friend about something trivial. It's how do you think on your feet when you're trying to communicate a specific message and it's maybe a business setting. Maybe there's something you want the other person to do for you, whether it's hire you if you're at a job interview, invest in you if you're pitching a venture capitalist, approve a budget if you're trying to get your budget approved by senior management. These are higher stakes presentations, which means we get more nervous, which means our ability to think actually goes down. So we have to realize what's causing this problem. Now, the solution is to build your comfort level with speaking situations. When you get to the point where talking to 50 people or 100 people feels the same as when you're talking to your best friend, it then becomes impossible not to think on your feet. If you've ever seen a great comedian or a great professional speaker on the stage, they may react instantly to a question someone has, or even someone looking confused. They can be so comfortable in their shoes. They can be aware of their surroundings. For most people, you're just thinking, how can I get through this content? How can I get to the next point? How can I get to bullet point number 27? You wouldn't even notice anyone in the audience if they stood up on their chair and lit their hair on fire because you're so focused on going through the script. You build a comfort level by doing it more often. So I want to recommend that you seek out every opportunity possible to speak. You're getting reps in. Any great athlete will tell you part of it is just more reps. Many of the most successful basketball players of all time are successful because they stayed an hour after practice shooting free throws. They wanted to get another 100 throws in. They wanted to get those reps in to build the muscle memory. It's exactly the same thing when it comes to learning how to think on your feet speaking, whether it's live audiences or on camera. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Specifically because the more you do it, the less it seems like a strange, weird, alien thing to do. If you're going on your first date ever, let's say you're 16 years old, you're probably going to be pretty nervous, right? You may remember that. If you're going out on Saturday night to the movies or dinner with your spouse and you've been married 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, you're probably not going to be nervous. Well, what's the difference? It's because you've done it a gazillion times. It's not a strange thing. It's not an alien thing. You're now comfortable with it. When you see most great communicators and speakers thinking on their feet and appearing to think on their feet, believe me, they were not born that way. They are there because they've put in the hours. Now, I'm not going to say it has to be the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours of speeches before you can do it. All I can tell you is the more you speak, the more frequently you speak, the more varied atmospheres and conditions and audience sizes you speak, the less it becomes possible to be nervous and uncomfortable. And the sooner you get to the point where you're feeling really comfortable, you're feeling relaxed, then it's impossible not to think on your feet. It becomes second nature because that's how you are pretty much all day long, anytime. Someone can bump into you at the office or call you up just to ask you a question. You're not thinking, let me go research this and write a rough draft. No, You just answer the question. You're thinking on your feet. Now, sometimes the answer might be, I don't know. I've got to call Jim in accounting and find out. But you can think even that response. It's because you're familiar with it. So if you want to become someone's seen as completely confident, poised, authoritative, my advice is seek out opportunities to speak. Volunteer when someone says, we need a guest speaker. It could be at an industry event. It could be at your own company. It could be your son's Little League awards banquet needs a motivational speaker, and the person who was supposed to speak just canceled. Say yes. Raise your hand. Look for opportunities. Quite often, it's as simple as being in an industry conference or a town hall meeting for your company and asking a question. That, in and of itself, scares most people. If it's a larger crowd than usual, if there's certain bosses present who aren't normally seeing you speak, it's going to feel nerve-wracking. Just the sheer act of standing up and asking a question, or being seated and asking a question, or being online and asking a question, is giving you more reps to speak in front of people, to be seen by other people speaking, and to get to the point where you can think. Now, if it's just a question, I don't recommend writing it out and trying to memorize it. You could write it out, but once you stand or have the microphone to ask the question, don't read. If you read it, you're not going to get any credit for thinking on your feet, and it's going to sound canned, flat, and phony. If writing it down helps prepare you, okay. But then when the time comes, just speak. Don't worry about getting it word for word the right way. Just focus on what the idea is you want to convey. So these are some tips. I'm here to tell you, you can become someone who thinks on their feet. Could take a little while, but you can do it. But what you can do right away is use my little trick of having notes only for you where no one else sees it. That can be the first step along a trail to get you to the point where you can speak as naturally and freely in front of people and literally think on your feet as you are talking to your best friend over lunch. Okay, so that was let's see, we went to 202, okay, I think that was about 12 minutes long. So there may be some fat in there that can be trimmed out, because all I'm really looking for is about, in fact, let me make a note to my editor. Note to edit on that last video. I think we went about 12 minutes long. I'm not sure the ending was quite as strong as I wanted. So let's feel free to edit that down as long as the video is more than 8 minutes long. We do want it to be 8 minutes long. So note to editor, please see if we can figure out a way of doing that. Okay, so I'm hitting off. So those of you new, I say I'm recording it. Everything we're doing here is recorded on StreamYard, and it is available for replay on YouTube and a lot of other places. This is in high definition, 1080, I think it's 1080p. I'm not really the most sophisticated tech person, but I'm also recording this with a mixer on a hard drive at a much higher quality, 4K. That's the same thing you see the highest quality movies in on Netflix and other platforms. So it's the very highest quality. Gives a certain clarity and a richness to it. And you may, if you look at my videos on my website in the last month, you'll see some that literally say 4K. And you can notice a certain clarity. How much of a difference that really makes to people, I don't know. I mean, there are people who do simple videos on $20 webcams and they have 10 million subscribers and they're doing it from their bedroom. So I do think the ideas you're conveying and either the information, the value you're delivering, or the entertainment is what matters most. But I do think that there are a lot of really successful YouTubers and content creators who, as they progress, as they do more things, as they build an audience, try to up their game, with the technical quality and have things like this is a very, very powerful microphone that is just off camera that is giving higher quality audio than the old lav mics or even the Shure mic that I used to use. So trying to build the quality there as often as possible. Okay, so we're going to take some questions, and I'm going to try to be responsive to a number of other issues that have popped up that you have told me that you are interested in and what you're trying to get out of this. So I want to share with that. I just dropped my notes here. But part of what I'm doing is I'm trying to be more responsive to exactly what you're looking for. As I mentioned earlier, there are several themes that come back again and again. People are interested in body language, voice improvement, common mistakes that people make, and how to be more articulate. So I'm going to try to do kind of a series of some of these topics in short form to figure out how to be more responsive to your needs. So let me do a body language tip right now. By the way, it looks like one of you hit a thumbs up. I very much appreciate that. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or any other platform, please do take a moment, if you get any value out of this, to hit the thumbs up button on this. So please let me know, because I see we have a number of people watching. And it looks like by a ratio of 1 to 7, only 1 out of 7 people have put a thumbs up, although I may be misreading that based on how it's fed in by various social media platforms into StreamYard. But if you're getting any value out of this, please do a thumbs up. I would love more comments from you, specifically questions on what you want me to address. But meanwhile, I am going to go into one that I did plan and I've given a little thought to, which is more body language tips. Okay. What's one of the biggest body language mistakes people make? It's trying to have good body language. You go to some course or you read a book, and all of a sudden you're thinking, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this. The biggest thing you can do to improve your body language is just speak more frequently and get to the point where you're not nervous. Then your hands will move naturally. Your face will move. Your body will move, and you'll come across relaxed. Okay. So that is a good tip, I think, and it's a little different from what I've said before. So I'm always trying to figure out, how can I deliver some content that is either completely new to people that they haven't heard before, or it's an old idea, but I have a new packaging, a new way into that world to make people think about it a little differently. And that is one I've certainly touched on those themes before, but I think I did it just a little bit differently. Okay, let me do a few more shorts, and maybe we'll come back and do these longs as well. Voice. I'll start from this side. Oh, wrong angle. And my pocket square is popping up again. What's the number one way to have your voice sound more professional when you're speaking in front of people? It's to not try to sound professional. The second most people try to sound professional is they're speaking in a lower tone of voice and they become monotone and flat, and it's boring. The way to sound professional is to use the full range of your voice. Okay, so that is a very, very important point, but often gets obscured. And me simply saying that advice once doesn't always help, but that's one I have said before, but it's a really important point. I see our good friend and one of our top students, Karima, has just popped in and says, hi, TJ, just popping in to see what tips, you said what tops I might pick up today. I'm assuming you meant tips. I make typos all the time when I'm in the comments section. So not in any way meant to criticize you. We know exactly what you mean. Yeah. And you know what, Karima, you just gave me a fantastic idea for a video. Let me just, this is dedicated to you, Karima. I'm going to go to my camera 2. Stop worrying about making a mistake when you're giving a speech or presentation, because here's the thing. Most people aren't going to notice your mistakes if everything else you say kind of makes sense. Look at this video again. I actually made a mistake in the very first sentence. I didn't use the plural, I used the singular. And you know what? I got away with it. Okay, so that's one I feel very strongly about. And that thing just popped up in my head as I said it. I said, let me actually make a mistake. And I bet I can do it in a way that the average person wouldn't notice. And then I got to the point thinking, wow, if I could actually ask people to check it out, that would get them to watch the video again. That would then juice the algorithms on YouTube and TikTok of, wow, people are watching this a second time, high retention rate. Now, I don't typically try to get that analytical as I'm making a point and look at all these different angles. I'm trying to focus on one idea that could be useful to people. And Karima, you gave me that idea because, again, you have one letter off. It didn't matter at all. I know exactly what you're talking about. Most of us realize, okay, you make a typo texting a friend, no big deal. Who cares? But quite often, the very same person will then obsess over making a mistake in a speech or a presentation. Like, oh my God, I used the wrong word if they're watching a video of themselves. And they'll convince themselves they gave a horrible presentation when the reality is everyone else loved what they said and nobody noticed the mistake. So that's why I think it's a really important point. So Karima, thanks for being my inspiration on that. Also, if you want to share anything you're working on or toss out a question or a topic you'd like me to address, let me know. Okay, let me go to the next one. I did the body language tip. I did the voice tip. Mistakes. Okay. Go to camera 2. And I should point out for those of you joining, the reason I'm going to camera 2, where I'm not looking at the camera, when I'm doing that when I'm making videos specifically designed to be short form content for YouTube, TikTok, other social media platforms, because the data shows of all my thousands of videos in the last few years, people seem to like it when I appear to be speaking on stage in front of people and ignoring the camera. So we've simulated that camera angle here in my new studio. That's why we're doing that. Is it a little artificial? Yeah, but I mean, wearing a tie in South Florida in a suit when it's 90 degrees is artificial. Wearing any kind of makeup is artificial. So to me, the question is it something really disingenuous that's going to mislead or harm people? To me, the answer is no. I think I'm helping people with that. So that's why I'm doing it. Okay, going to camera 2. And the topic again is, okay, the common mistakes people make. And I want to make sure my pocket square doesn't start growing again, because that can look ridiculous. What's the number one mistake most people make when rehearsing a presentation? It's to rehearse again and again and again without video recording it or just looking in the mirror. If you rehearse again and again, you have no idea what you should do more of or what you should do less of. So get over this fear of the camera and rehearse on video. Watch yourself, figure out what you like, don't like, do more of what you like. That way your rehearsal will actually mean something, because if you just rehearse without watching, that's like practicing your golf swing and holding the wrong end of the golf club every time. It's not going to help you. Okay. I've used that golf analogy before. I hope that it worked and was effective. I kind of felt like I should have brought it in earlier. But again, I am trying to practice what I am thinking while on my feet here. I am thinking, but I'm thinking about things that I've given deep, deep thought to for years and years and years. I'm not just pulling things from you know where and making up stuff. Although at any given moment, my example might be something I'm thinking of for the first time. The analogy might be something that pops up right away. But that happens because I've given serious, serious thought to these issues. I've written about these issues for years. I've made videos about these issues for years. I've worked with people in real life, face to face for years. I've made video-based courses on this topic, and I've reflected on it. So that's what allows me to think on my feet. I probably should have mentioned some of that in there as well. Madhav has joined us. Hi, Madhav. Always good to hear from you. If you want to come on screen, please do. And our good friend Roger, and a great speaker in his own right, and one of our students and colleagues in the Udemy world, has stopped by to say hello. Roger says, amazing set, TJ. This could be a new standard for webinars. You're doing a great job managing the multiple cameras. The cool thing is it gives you better stage presence and allows you to move around as you desire. The most effective thing is moving back, and then when you want to emphasize something, you move closer. Well, Roger, you made my day. So thank you so much for noticing that. I really do appreciate it. That is why we created this set, because sometimes people will look at this and say, TJ, that looks weird. You should be framed here up. I'm doing this specific to my niche and my topic of public speaking, because part of what makes people nervous when they speak is like, what do I do with my hands? And am I supposed to, what do I do if I start rocking? So I've created this set to be able to demonstrate and simulate things people do. And you're right. If I want to get in your face a little bit, I try not to do that too often. I can do that. And we've got this camera angle for more of the traditional shot. Plus, this allows me to read comments on the computer screen. So that part is easy. And then, Roger, if this is your first time here, I know you've seen me before on Facebook many, many times. This angle is designed to create a simulation of me being on stage with the curtains behind me, looking down at an audience with a camera looking up, with me typically not looking at the camera. So that's why we have those three angles. Any one of them is a little different from what your average YouTuber, I won't say average, YouTubers who are talking about things in a more conventional way or not talking about public speaking would have. Because typically you would have one angle here, a side angle where they don't have to move, and then maybe one that shows the whole room and the whole studio. That's sort of the typical way you would have a 3-camera shot. But Roger, let us know what you're up to these days. If you have any video you want us to put a spotlight on, tell us about your business. I know you always do fun, creative things. And if you want to appear on camera, we've posted a link in the comments section. It's also in the community tab. And Madhav says, your suit is amazing, sir. Thank you, Madhav. Here's the thing about this. I actually have mixed feelings about this suit. I certainly appreciate your kind words. This suit is now, I believe, 16 years old. It was handmade. I don't see the label now. It was handmade for me by a Savile Row tailor in England, in London. And it is what I wanted. I like the pinstripes, and they're sort of bold enough that they typically don't jump around and dance on camera. That is the problem with some pinstripes or design, certainly plaid on camera can jump around and pixelate and look distracting. So I typically try to avoid anything with patterns. I thought, let me make an exception with the pinstripe because it's bold enough that, and yet subtle enough that it doesn't jump around, pixelate. So that's why I got this. The reason I don't actually like it much now is it's so bold, it's so distinctive. And it also kind of evokes images of gangsters, because gangsters in the 1930s and in movies about the 1930s often had the big, bold pinstripe. Michael Douglas in the movie Wall Street, the second Wall Street movie, had, according to my tailor, basically the exact same fabric. It wasn't the same tailor. So to me, it's almost a little too distinctive. What I want from my clothes typically is to look professional, to look well-groomed, to look high-end, but I don't necessarily want it to jump out in that and be that distinctive. And I try not to wear the same suit more than, I try not to wear a suit twice in the same week. It's not that I have 10,000 suits, but I have enough to not wear the same one. This one is more memorable. So if I do wear this, people will remember it. And again, Matt, I really like that you're saying you like the suit and the stripes look good. Thanks. So I'm going to keep it, obviously. And it was not an inexpensive suit to get. Anytime you have a handmade, hand-tailored suit, it usually costs a pretty penny. But I'm wearing it 16 years later. I don't think I've bought a suit in 16 years. Now, what I have started buying again is ties, because I say, as some of you may have heard me say earlier in the week, I realized the ties I was wearing are no longer in fashion, because the ties I have are about a half an inch wider. This is a tie that I bought at Macy's. Macy's or Saks in the Boca Raton Mall. This is a cub room tie, and it's more the standard width. So I certainly don't want to instantly jump out in front of people as being out of fashion and wearing old clothes, although I don't mind that my suit is old. But Mata, thank you so much for commenting on that. Roger, do you have any quick update? Because the other thing I am going to do in some of our remaining time is make Amazon influencer videos. It's something I've been doing now for actually perhaps even 3 months today is when I first signed up for the Amazon influencer program. I don't remember the first time I posted a video, but I think I officially joined it December 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's still early in the journey for me, but I have to tell you, it is kind of exciting. I do wake up in the morning, and one of the first things I do is I go to my Amazon influencer page, and it tells me how many clicks I got, how many views I got, and how many actually sales I made in the last day. And it's been a while, frankly, since I didn't have any sales. Now, these are not gigantic numbers. These are not numbers that are going to buy you a suit like this or a car, but it is an interesting signal to see everyday products that people bought after watching one of my videos. So it isn't, to me, an exciting opportunity for more of an average person who's not an entertainer or a famous athlete or a famous celebrity to get into the influencing game, because it's not going away. Traditional TV networks, cable networks are hemorrhaging their audiences. Advertisers are not flowing there. Corporate brands have more money to give because they're not having to give the wholesale to retail markup to places like Macy's, because Macy's is closing 150 stores and other stores are closing all over the world. So there's actually more money to give to people like you and me if we can facilitate the sales process, which is what influencers do. Okay, I want to do, I think, one more short form video. Record that, and then we're going to switch over to Amazon influencer videos. So this one will be on how to be more articulate. Okay, we'll do this as a short form. Would you like to be more articulate? Well, here is the key. Stop rushing. Inarticulate people kind of start speaking quickly and they're low energy and it's mumble mouth. You want to be more articulate? Pause occasionally. Boost the volume for certain words. When you change your volume and pause more, you will be seen as more articulate. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure I love that one. It might have come across as too artificial, and I don't want people to sound artificial, but I do know that becoming more articulate is something that people are keenly aware of as a need and a want and a desire. And I've seen not only for myself, but a lot of other communication experts across social media, when they do videos helping people become more articulate, quite often it gets 10, 50 times as many viewers as most because it is a topic people are interested in. Okay, I'm going to shift gears a moment and we're going to do Amazon influencer videos. Now, you may notice, you may remember if you were with me yesterday, I committed a blunder. I shot all my videos. I only then checked to see how did it sound. And I had not properly charged my receiver. I don't think I'd ever charged this receiver. I was charging my microphone every day. I didn't even notice that there was a, let me get off camera so the focus will not think I'm a face. There's a, a standard, I guess you call that a mini, I don't know if that's mini HDMI, but I had not been charging it. So it's now fully charged. I'm going to put this receiver in. I am going to get my microphone. I believe I still have charging. So I've got to step away for just a second. It's not exactly the most professional thing. It does reveal that we have no huge staff here, but I'm doing the best I can to try to show you in the real world how do people make content. And how do you do it if you don't have a big team? Because how many of us really have some big, huge team? And I see that's someone named That's Hazahath has given me something. I can't tell if those are purple high fives or if that's I'm not quite sure what it is, but it certainly seems positive and want to thank you for stopping by today. So I'm going to turn on my microphone. I'm looking for a green light, which I now have. I do this because even though the microphone is pretty good on an iPhone, it's always better to have a microphone that's only a few inches away from your mouth, which is what I'm able to do by placing it there. Now, I'm going to go to this and show you. I bring out my little tripod. It's right here. So I have this tripod. I'm going to take off the remote control, which I use. And so when I'm making these Amazon influencer videos, I try to do everything in one take to simplify the process and to make it therefore the least amount of risk possible. Because if I'm only spending a few seconds on it, if for some reason the video never gets placed on an Amazon page, or if it's placed, no one watches it, or if it's placed on the platform and people watch it and nobody buys it, I don't make any money and it doesn't really matter because I've only invested a few seconds in it. So that is my philosophy for right now. As I continue learning more and more about Amazon influencer, being an influencer, experimenting, I may change the strategy completely. Those of you who've been with me from the beginning may remember I've already changed parts of my strategy because I'm now no longer doing the horizontal videos, and I'm no longer taking the pictures because I just didn't find those ads, those product reviews getting any views, getting traction. So I'm now doing almost exclusively trying to level. Whoops. I'm trying to tighten this so that it doesn't swivel. Okay. So that's, I'm framing it, and I apologize, you can't see. I'm framing it so the top of my head is touching the top of the screen. I'm now going to go to the bag of products that I brought from home. Now, sometimes I may switch to camera 2 here. Now, sometimes I will do products that I have in my office, certainly books that I keep here, electronics, other things. But today I said, okay, I'm just going to do some clothes. So these are all products that I actually use, actually like. And with a lot of these products, I have done product reviews of products I love so much, I do spend time talking about it and recommending to people. With my clothing products, I don't spend as much time recommending clothes. I just don't typically talk about clothes to my colleagues and friends and family. But these are all things that I've had for a long time. I mean, I've had this shirt for a long time. I'm going to talk about this. This is a Nike pullover long sleeve shirt. Now I've got to turn on my remote control. Okay, I see the blue light. This Nike pullover shirt is fantastic. It's long sleeve, zipper. It's just warm enough to keep me warm and yet doesn't get suffocating. It's lightweight, cool, fantastic. So that's not the most fantastic video ad, I got to tell you, but I think it's going to be good enough. Now I'm going to see if the audio worked. Okay, so the audio worked. I don't want to make the same mistake that I made yesterday, which is I did half a dozen videos and realized I did not have a microphone I didn't have my receiver fully charged. So these are Old Navy shorts. Oh, I do live in South Florida. So I do not walk around in South Florida wearing a business suit and a tie and a shirt. I put this on just for when I'm live with you. When I'm going to the office, when I'm going out to dinner, anything else, I am wearing shorts and a linen shirt typically. And you may remember that I made ads for linen shirts just last week. So these are Old Navy shorts. Okay. I live in South Florida where it is hot, and that's why I love my Old Navy shorts. I wear these every single day. I'm a shorts guy. These work for me. They'll work for you too. Again, I don't love that, but I'm not going to take the time to write a big script or go to ChatGPT and say, write the perfect marketing script, read the script, do voiceover, do videos. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do, but as I am on my journey of experimentation with what works with Amazon and what doesn't, I'm not ready to invest that much time into it. So this is a J. Crew sweat. You know, I'm trying to remember if I did one for this. There's a danger I might have, but you know what? Amazon doesn't mind if you do more than one video, so it doesn't really hurt me. And this is a newer, I don't buy a lot of clothes. I like to keep life fairly simple. As you know, this is a suit that's 16 years old. I'm not buying a lot of suits. I like to buy quality things that I keep a long time. This is a newer edition. This is, I think, 6 months old that my wife got me. So let's just talk about it. I love my J. Crew pullover sweatshirt. It's warm, it's sturdy, it's rugged, and it's just the right thing on a cool day. We don't have a lot of cool days in Florida, but I do spend time in other parts of the country, New York and North Carolina, other times of year, Thanksgiving, holidays. So I do occasionally have a need for warmer clothing. And you may remember maybe a month ago, I did ads for a ski jacket. It's not something I bought, did an ad and returned it. I use it. I'll be using it next week because I'll be skiing in Beaver Creek, Colorado. So I'm looking forward to that and getting some cooler weather. Now this is an RBX shorts. Typically, now let me back up. On Amazon, you can only review products that are sold on Amazon. It's very rare that a product isn't available on Amazon, but it does happen. I didn't check this first. So there's a danger these shorts are not available, but I do like them. I do use them, and I'm not kidding. I pretty much wear shorts every day. Shorts like the ones I showed you with regular pockets, front and back pockets for going to dinner, going to the office. But I play pickleball almost every day, so I need a lot of different athletic shorts. So that's what these are for. So this is the RBX gym shorts. I love my RBX gym shorts. They're incredibly light and therefore cool. I play pickleball almost every day in South Florida. I need something that doesn't get hot. These are the ticket. Okay. Another pair of shorts. And this brand is, it says 32 degrees cool. Okay. These are stretchy. And apologies that makes me sound like too much of an old man. But the fact that they stretch make them incredibly comfortable. And so 32 degree cool. Okay. I guess I will. As you can tell, I'm not a full-time demonstrator of clothing products like people on QVC and Home Shopping Network on. So I'm probably violating some standard protocols. I am going to zip it up if that makes anyone more comfortable. Okay. Straighten my own tie. These 32 degree cool shorts are fantastic. They are stretchy, very comfortable, and lightweight. I live in South Florida where it's hot every day. These are perfect for going to the office and going out to dinner. So it may strike some people as ludicrous who would never go out to dinner in a pair of shorts, but that's what I do here in Florida. So that's the handful. I'm going to put this aside for 1 minute, see what other housekeeping matters have come in. And we'll go back to camera 3. Hugo has written in with another note. You're being 100% truthful when doing the reviews, or do you tend to exaggerate the qualities of these products? Okay, it's a question. So Hugo, to me, one of the beautiful things about this Amazon influencer program is I don't feel any pressure at all to exaggerate. If I were an advertising agency and a brand came to me and said, well, TJ, we're going to give you $100,000 a month and 50,000 of that's going to be your profit. And you got to say good things about this product. Let's face it, there's a lot of pressure to just use hyperbole and say all sorts of exaggerated things and to really downplay any deficiency. What I love about this Amazon influencer program is you've got every product you've ever bought and you can just pick the ones you like. So I specifically only pick out products that I genuinely like. Now, sometimes some products it's easier to get enthusiastic about than others. There's some products where I think, okay, do I really care that much? Now, I did a review of a stapler. Am I wildly enthusiastic about the stapler I use? You know what? I've had it for 10 years. It works. It doesn't break. If you need a stapler, it's going to be fine. And it pretty much said something like that. I don't say, this stapler is going to keep your papers together for 10,000 years and it's 100% better than other stapler. I don't do that. So that's, to me, what's fascinating about this influencer program is you can be authentic. There's plenty of products I have around my house where I think, you know what? I don't hate it, but they're a headache. Let me give you a perfect example. I have a machine that I bought that turns a bathtub into like a hot tub. You put it, it's plastic, and then has all these holes in it and suction cups. And then it has a machine that blows air through it. So it bubbles and percolates just like you're in a nice jacuzzi. And I thought about doing a review of it, but the suction cups don't stay at all. So what I've had to kind of jerry rig the thing, and I get my wife's dumbbells and I put it down on top of them, and I have to kind of sit around them. And then one of the hoses to the main air compressor that pushes the air, I twisted a little too hard and it broke. So now I have to put it in, kind of lodge it between the bathtub and another fixture in the bathroom, and it kind of stays together. And I hit the, so I figured out a way that it works. I do enjoy it. It's very relaxing. And my daughter loves it because when you've got a bathtub and you've got all these bubbles going out, you put a little bubble bath in and it goes, we've literally had 6-foot tall bubble baths for her the last couple of days. She's loving it. So I was tempted to do an Amazon review of that. The problem is I just thought it's a little too complicated. It's a little too unsettling for people who are expecting this to stick in their tub and it's floating around, and you gotta kind of figure out, how do I keep this thing underneath me? The fact that the tube broke so easily, I thought showed it wasn't really made that well. So I figured out a way of making it work for me, but I didn't really want to recommend something that I thought would break relatively easy for other people. So rather than doing a video and saying, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, I just decided not to do it. So that's how I use my editorial discretion. So I don't think I'm exaggerating. Now, is it possible I get swept up in the moment and am a little more effusive about something than I would be that if you just asked me as a friend? I guess it's possible. That can be human nature. I'm going to turn my battery off on this so I don't run out of power for tomorrow. Let's see the green light. I want to turn it off. Okay. So Hugo, I hope that answers your question, because I do know that a lot of people, I hope most people, don't want to trick people into buying something that's useless junk or that would harm them in any way or disappoint them. And that's always the tension if you're an ad agency, if you're a traditional ad agency and you've got mouths to feed, rent to pay, you have dozens of employees, let's say, and they are depending on you to provide them a salary and healthcare benefits, and they have mortgages dependent on getting salary, and all of a sudden you have a new client, and let's just say it's a energy drink. You have serious qualms about what's in this energy drink. It's got a lot of caffeine that's not good for you. It's got a lot of artificial processed sugar that's not good for you. But hey, it's a big account. It means you don't have to fire people and let people. There's a lot of pressure there. You can make the case, well, it's, there's, at least in the United States, there's a First Amendment right to, anyone can communicate, any company can communicate. They have a right to communicate in advertising. I'm helping them with their constitutional right. There's all sorts of justifications you can use to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make that ad for this energy drink, even though you might not feel that good about it. To me, that's the beauty of this influencer stuff and the Amazon influencer program. For me, it's easy. I don't think energy drinks are good for people. I don't think extra caffeine. And to me, the biggest problem is all the processed artificial sugars in these products. So for me, my wife or daughter might buy one. There might be one in our house against my will, but I'm not going to do an ad for it because I think that's harming people's health. That's me. People have different standards. Some people might say, well, TJ, I'm not ever going to promote a tie. That's promoting old-fashioned patriarchy, or, some reason they don't like that. Or a very legitimate issue, this tie, I believe, is made in China. And some ethical people could say, I don't want to promote any product where the workers were perhaps mistreated or not, or made things in a sweatshop. So there's once you start looking, you can find almost any product where you could say there's something ethical I don't like about it. It's the supply chain or its impact or how people allocate their money. So I don't mean to sound like I have all the answers and that it's an easy answer every single time. But what I do like about the Amazon influencer program is you can promote any single product in the entire world that they sell. And that's I say millions, it's probably tens of millions or hundreds of millions of products. So if there's something you don't like, just don't do an ad for it. That's how I justify, or that's how I think about it. Now, what I'm going to do is show you step by step how I do this. So I pick the product, I made the video ad. That's only part of the process. So now I'm going to go to my Amazon influencer page, which I would show you, but that is against the rules and the policies of Amazon for you to show publicly sort of the insides. They like to think of that, I guess, as their trade secrets, and they don't want Walmart.com to know, presumably. So I'm going to open up Safari. I'm going to go to a URL. I'm going to type in Amazon, and I'm going to find my page. I then hit Create Content. I hit Video. I go to Photo Library. I hit the most recent video, which was the last one I did. I hit Done. It's now processing and uploading the video. I'm going to pull up the product again so I can see kind of the exact name, because most of the vast majority of the time, the products I'm reviewing are products I did in fact buy on Amazon, but sometimes we just got them at another store, Costco or somewhere. So Amazon says it's okay to do an ad, a product review for a product you didn't buy, as long as you have it and you can show it, and it's for sale on Amazon, because it has to be tagged. So I'm going to type in now. I'm searching Amazon. I'm going to hit the microphone because I find it much easier to dictate than to type. 32 degrees cool men's shorts. And I'm going to hope that they are there. Okay. And I do see, yeah, this looks like exactly what it is. I like the fact that this product I'm endorsing, reviewing, has 4.5 stars and, more than a handful of reviews. Typically, I won't say I've never given a positive review of something less than 4.5 stars, sometimes 4. Once you get below that, quite often you're dealing with a product that's really making a lot of people unhappy, and I try to stay away from that. Incredibly comfortable shorts that look good and stretch. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add that last part because in the Amazon description, you can't go above 60 characters. So I looked, it told me how many characters I had. I said, okay, I've got enough for 2 more words. So that's what I'm doing and thinking about. Again, is this the best way of doing it? You could certainly be more sophisticated, type in a request for suggestions from ChatGPT or other places, test market various titles. I'm trying to get things up as quickly as possible because I just don't know what is going to work. And thus far, I haven't made a fortune on any one product. Interestingly, well, I'm not sure I'm supposed to share that. I don't want to get in trouble with Amazon. But sometimes it is the products that you did not think would sell well, did, because your video is the first video, in some cases the only video on that product page. So you have less competition. Okay, now I'm going to another pair of shorts. I've tapped it. I've hit done. It's uploading. It's processing the video. So Amazon, to their credit, makes this, I think, simpler than any other affiliate program. Now, they are known for giving a smaller percentage, and you don't get recurring revenue. So I'm doing this as sort of a test for me, getting in the influencing game, and as I build out my YouTube show of starting relationships with brands. I'm not doing this with the idea that I absolutely have to be making 6 figures from Amazon Influencer within 6 months. Otherwise, I would do things in a very different way. I'm going to go to Browse History. Search. RBX men's shorts. And they are there. Great. And very high reviews. It looks like more than a 2.5. Excuse me, more than a 4.5. 2.5 would be a pretty horrible rating to have. Lightweight men's athletic shorts, comma, cool and comfortable. So there I made a blunder because I used the word men's. And Amazon does not want you using apostrophes. So I'm going to use the grammatically incorrect men's without an apostrophe. Now I'm going to hit done. Now I hit submit. So again, these are the steps. It's not the most interesting TV. I understand that. It's not the most interesting YouTube live stream you've ever seen. The reason I'm doing this is part of what I vowed to do for you right here is to actually show you the real world workflow of a content creator and of a communication skills expert and exactly what we do, how we do it to demystify this. Because if you want to become an Amazon influencer, you can watch a gazillion videos on the Amazon influencer program and read blog posts, but there's very few of them that actually show you step by step how they're doing it in real time. What I'm hoping is that it makes you realize, well, this isn't that hard. TJ doesn't seem that smart. He doesn't seem that technologically savvy. If he can do it, I can do it too. If that is the conclusion you take away from this, then I'm happy. We both benefit. Because I do think there are a lot of people out there, you may be one of them, where you're articulate, you're a good communicator, you're a good speaker, you're looking for more opportunities to speak. And you wouldn't mind making money doing it as well. And here's an opportunity right here. You don't have to worry about gatekeepers. Okay. Now I forgot which product that. Oh, okay, that's the sweatshirt. The old, or the J. Crew men's sweatshirt. Okay. So now I'm going to tag it. I'm going to go, don't know where my wife bought that. So instead of going and searching my orders, I'm going to search all of Amazon. And I'm assuming J. Crew has everything on Amazon. Men's striped sweatshirt, J. Crew. Should have started with J. Crew. Now, okay, it's not a crew neck. I should have said collared. Let me do a search again on that. So again, I'm using the dictation button because I just find it's much faster. I hate typing on a phone. You may type much faster. If you have any questions about this, you can go ahead and post them. We do have a few minutes left. J. Crew collared men's striped sweatshirt, white and blue. Okay. So here's something that's similar. Doesn't look exactly like it. For some reason, it gave me a whole bunch of sweatshirts that don't have collars, which seems a bit odd. I see one here that does seem the closest to it. Men's long sleeve shirt fashion. That looks more like a shirt. Let me see if there's any other identifying information I can use. It just says J. Crew. This one is made in Vietnam. That's not that uncommon, but not as common as clothing made in China. Okay. Let me try one more search on this. So it's oftentimes I can go through 20 products. Bang, bang, bang. It's easy to find. Every once in a while, like this, I can't find exactly what it is. And I could just say, oh, forget about it. I've only invested 20 seconds in it. So let me try one more time. J. Crew men's sweatshirt with collar, white with blue stripes. Yeah, I'm saying with collar. This gave me things without collars. I do see something here with a collar. Let's see if there's any. Now it's giving me other brands. So I don't want to promote another brand when I specifically say this is a J. Crew brand. Oh, wow. Now I'm not even seeing J. Crew. So let me try that one more time. Maybe J. Crew isn't on Amazon. I would find that surprising. J. Crew men's sweatshirt. Huh. Okay, J. Crew does have product. Men's long sleeve crew neck. That's not exactly a crew neck, but it is J. Crew and it is a sweatshirt. So, and it's a highly rated product. So that one is just a little bit off, but it is close enough. J. Crew makes a fantastic sweatshirt for men. Exclamation point. Okay. So I would say that's not exactly what I want, but it's close enough. Create content, photo library. Going to go to the next product. These are the men's shorts. It's uploading. I'm going to pick up the shorts to remind myself. These are the Old Navy shorts. And this, what color would you call this? We had this issue, Kareem was with us the other day. Would you call these plum, maroon? I am colorblind, so forgive me for not getting these just right. Old Navy men's shorts. Ultimate Slim built-in flex. Let's see what that gives me. Now, certainly there are some brands that are so protective of their brand experience, they don't want to be on Amazon. I don't see the Old Navy on here, but let me just check again. We're going to tag, browse history. Old Navy men's shorts. It may be that I put in too lengthy. Okay. So I'm only seeing Amazon Essentials. Sometimes Amazon can put people out of business by taking their product, their idea, doing it cheaper. And I don't want to presume to know. Let me just do one check for Old Navy and see if anything Old Navy. Old Navy. Old Navy. Old Navy gift cards. Old Navy. Flip-flops. So Old Navy does have some product. Let me try one more time to see if Old Navy, and Matthew's saying hello. Matthew, good morning to you too. And now right now it's noon, so I can't say good afternoon or good morning because we're exactly at noon. We're at the tail end here, but always happy to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let me try one more time to tag this product. So I'm going to go browse history. Old Navy shorts. We'll just see if anything. Okay, no, that's Amazon. Okay, so It appears as though Old Navy does not sell shorts on Amazon, in which case I've only invested 15 seconds making the video, so it's no big loss. Now we're going to go to, I believe this is the final product. I try to do batches of at least 5. So I'm going to just discard that draft since we can't find the product. I'm going to hit create. I'm going to hit post. I'm going to go to photo library. I'm going to pick the last one. This is the Nike. So I don't know what you call this. It's a shirt. It's an extremely light sweatshirt. So it's uploading this. I think that I got this on Amazon, but we'll find out. In that case, I will search Amazon first, my orders, rather than the entire Amazon catalog. So it's uploading the video. I'm going to go to my orders. Search order. Nike men's shirt. Long sleeve. We're going to hit search. No results. Okay. I'm going to go to browse history. Long sleeve, pullover, lightweight, Nike men's shirt. That's kind of a long stretch. Things did pop up. Huh, that's Under Armour. Wow. So I do, the thing that looks closest to it is an Under Armour, but I do see a men's Nike long sleeve shirt. So I'm going to use that one. Nike makes more than shoes, exclamation point. Here's a great shirt. And I used an apostrophe. I don't want to do that. Here is a great shirt. So I hit done, I hit submit. So we shot 6 product videos today and we uploaded 5. So I've got 5 more at bats, essentially. I never know if all of those will get views and get prominent placement on Amazon, if none of them. But when you're playing the numbers game, as I am, some usually always get in. There's always some views, and that trickles down to some sales. So that's what I'm looking for, indications. Hey, I want to thank you for joining me today, especially those of you who've been with us for longer than an hour. We started 3 hours ago. I'll be joining you tomorrow, if all goes well, 9 a.m. Eastern time to noon. So if I didn't get to your questions or you're seeing this on demand, then please come join us live. Happy to have you join us right on screen, and we can have a conversation. I can answer your questions. We can critique your videos and have a lot of fun. I'm TJ Walker. May all of your communication in life be successful. Thanks.